Chapter 1174. Black Faith seemed to have a special magic. Each piece had a different color and style. Once the media released it, all the socialites in the capital went to History, intending to buy it. However, History released the news that only 50 pieces of Black Faith would be produced. It was a limited edition and would not be sold for the time being. In just a few days, the price of each piece of Black Faith had reached 7 digits. Moreover, because of Black Faith, History's turnover had increased greatly, making History popular. Now, the limited edition of Black Faith was pushed to first place on Weibo's hot search list. Since the release of Black Faith, Xianxia had been slandered even more. Xianxia, what a joke, saying that History has run out of talent and can't design a decent work. Did you guys eat Black Faith? My History is ready to go. No wonder people don't bother with Xianxia. They're not on the same level at all. Do you understand Black Faith? A 7-digit price, limited to 50 pieces worldwide. Do you understand? History is the real sentiment. If Black Faith was mass-produced, what would you Xianxia do? I feel sorry for my History, being bitten by Xianxia's dog. You don't know how to be grateful. History's internet water army. Don't be too full of yourself. Black Faith is indeed very good, but no one can tell what will happen in the future. Xianxia's dog, don't talk nonsense. Where's the dog that said History has run out of talent? Isn't it coming out to bite us now? Xianxia is too shameless. She exudes a disgusting smell. Not only did she plagiarize History's famous work, she even said that History has run out of talent. With the release of Black Faith, this is a slap in the face. Pa pa pa. This time, History's fans were really arrogant for a long time after the production of Black Faith. Xianxia's momentum was quickly suppressed. Almost half of the fans even shouted for Xianxia to quickly design a new product and sell Black Faith. Otherwise, they would become anti-fans. Xianxia's office. She stared at Black Faith in the fashion magazine and couldn't help but frown. Impossible. Xianxia stared at the magazine in his hand. Dai Wei could never design such a work. What do you mean? She heard something from Xianxia's words. If Dai Wei had this ability, would he still need to steal Xianxia's work? I don't know either. Xianxia shook his head, his face full of doubt. But I can be sure that Dai Wei would not have this ability. I think that someone is helping History. Whether or not someone is helping History, Black Faith already exists. This is a fatal blow to us. Recently, History's market share has surpassed ours. If this continues, it's definitely not a good thing, she said in a low voice. Isn't it just Black Creed? Director Gong, you designed White Faith and completely defeated History. Han Momo stepped forward and made a cup of coffee for Shi. Then, she looked at Xianxia and encouraged him. It's not easy. A cold glint flashed in Xianxia's eyes. It's no coincidence that Black Faith is so popular. This piece of clothing uses the mysterious dark elements of the ancient East and perfectly incorporates Buddhism's life, death, and reincarnation. It can already be considered a top-grade item. Hearing that, Han Momo was a little surprised. Was Black Faith so powerful? Even Xianxia said it would be very difficult to surpass him. Chapter 1175. Moreover, these clothes are completely aimed at our Xianxia. There are 2 completely different extreme styles. Using one extreme style to crush the other extreme style? Just who is this person? Xianxia clenched his fists tightly. She didn't know much about fashion design, but as a woman, she knew how to appreciate it. She had to say that she liked the overall style of Black Faith very much. If it wasn't produced by History, she would find a way to buy one. Boss, give me some time. Xianxia looked serious. I believe you. She smiled. This time, it seemed that Xianxia had met his match. However, it wasn't a bad thing to have an opponent. Only with an opponent could one make breakthroughs and progress. However, she was very curious as to which great Buddha History had invited to help them deal with Xianxia. According to Xianxia, Black Faith was completely aimed at Xianxia. It wanted to defeat Xianxia with extreme style. After leaving the company, she was a little annoyed and wanted to find something to vent her troubled thoughts. She didn't know if it was because of black faith, but a person flashed in Ningxi's mind, a person whose temperament was incomparably compatible with black faith. So, she dialed a number. "What's up?" A lazy voice came from the phone. "What are you doing?" Ningxi asked with a smile. "Nothing. Abstinence. Practicing martial arts." Ningxi, Han Xiao, speak properly or I'll slap you in the face. Ningxi couldn't help but scold him. "How much do you hate your hand? Aren't you afraid of breaking it? Don't talk nonsense. Come and teach me a few moves," Ningxi said. "Is this the favor you got last time?" No. It wasn't easy for this guy to owe someone a favor. How would he pay it back so easily? "Oh, then I won't go." "Don't be stingy. I'll treat you to KFC. Where are you?" "I'll be right there." Ningxi, if someone was willing to treat him to a meal, Han Xiao would definitely come as promised. He wouldn't be late for even half a second, not to mention it was his favorite KFC. Looking at Han Xiao's table manners and appetite, Ningxi shook her head secretly. God gave him such a beautiful face for nothing. "Give me 5 more New Orleans grilled chicken wings," Han Xiao said, still not satisfied. "Stop eating. I'll take you to a good place." Without waiting for Han Xiao to finish eating, Ningxi pulled Han Xiao up and stuffed him into the car. A moment later, at the Taekwondo dojo, Han Xiao looked at those flowery but impractical moves in bewilderment. "This is the good place you told me about. Come, great God, quickly teach me a few moves." She had a look of worship on her face. Although this Han Xiao was a lunatic, his battle prowess was unquestionable. Damn it, every time she trained with second senior brother, she was despised in all kinds of ways. She must come up with a killer move or two to counterattack. "I'm not interested in fighting in front of these trash." Han Xiao didn't bite at all and sat lazily on the ground. "Brat, who are you calling trash?" In the next second, a few burly students quickly walked forward. The one who spoke was a fatty. Looking at his size, he looked like he couldn't even beat 100 kilograms. "I'm sorry, my friend was just joking," Ningxi explained. "It's none of your business." The fatty stepped forward and pushed Ningxi away. "Brat, I'm asking you a question. Who'd you call trash just now?" The few of them surrounded Han Xiao. At this moment, Han Xiao's face was filled with confusion. His gaze swept across the surroundings before landing on the tall and fat student, and he said, "I'm not targeting anyone. I'm just saying that everyone here is trash, not just you. Don't be angry." Chapter 1176. Are you fucking courting death? The fat student was enraged and lifted Han Xiao up from the ground. "This bastard, how dare he act in front of a woman? You idiot, I'll slap you so hard that even your mother won't recognize you." Seeing that Han Xiao was lifted up, a few students cursed loudly. Seeing this, Ningxi covered her face with her hands. This guy was too good at stirring up trouble. "Fatty, listen to me and let go of me." Han Xiao smiled at the tall and fat student. "Who are you calling fatty? I'll kill you with one punch, you idiot." The fat student was furious. "Fatty, do you believe that I can beat you to death with a single finger?" The smile on Han Xiao's face disappeared. "You're fucking courting death." The fat student threw a punch at Han Xiao's face. However, before the punch could reach Han Xiao, a finger flashed past. Before Han Xiao's finger reached Han Xiao, the force of the finger blew the fat student's hair up. The finger landed on the fat student's lower abdomen. The students who were watching the commotion did not know what had happened, but they saw the fat student, who weighed at least 200 kilograms, fly out. Bang! The fat student fell to the ground with both hands clutching his lower abdomen, crying out in pain. "See, I've already told you, but you didn't believe me. This fat kid can't take a beating." Han Xiao sat back on the ground and laughed. Seeing this, everyone in the Taekwondo dojo was completely dumbfounded. That man who looked like a woman really used one finger to send that tall and fat student flying with one finger? What kind of monster is that guy? He used one finger to send Wei Chong flying? Martial arts? Inner force? Fuck, don't tell me this is a fucking time travel from ancient times. Have you watched too many TV dramas? What the fuck? This small body actually has such a huge explosive force. Could it be force? Force? What force? You don't understand. I read it in an ancient book. Humans cultivate their strength, and then they cultivate their form. When the form reaches the extreme, it becomes martial arts. Only when the martial arts reach the extreme will there be strength. There are things like hidden strength, peak strength, and the cultivation of qi. A middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s explained. Fuck, Brother Liang, don't make it sound so magical. Is there really such a thing? You brats are so short-sighted. Of course there is. How could it be fake? It's just that you guys don't know about it. The middle-aged man shook his head. TSK, what ancient books? Brother Liang, you must be reading martial arts novels. Okay, pretend I didn't say anything. You guys are awesome, go fight him. The middle-aged man shrugged. Hearing this, the group of students shook their heads. Even the tall and fat student, Wei Chong, was sent flying with a single finger. Who would dare to fight him? Sorry. I'm really sorry. Ningxi looked embarrassed. She pulled Han Xiao up and ran away from the Taekwondo club. She only wanted to find a suitable place to exchange a few moves, but why did she end up in such a mess? I say, you're too good at stirring up trouble. Ningxi stopped the car and glared at Han Xiao. Miss, someone else wanted to hit me. Han Xiao made an innocent expression. If you didn't call them trash, would they hit you? She felt helpless. They are indeed trash. Han Xiao thought for a moment and replied seriously. Hearing Han Xiao's words, Ningxi's mouth twitched. She was speechless. It's all showy but impractical, boring. Han Xiao looked bored. Chapter 1177. Hee. Hero, why don't you go to heaven? Ningxi rolled her eyes at Han Xiao and dragged him out of the car. Pointing at a wall, she sneered. If you have the ability, be fierce to it. Prove it to me, big. Before Ningxi could finish, Han Xiao's palm flashed. It was a loud bang. Ningxi stared at the wall that was smashed into ruins by Han Xiao's palm, completely stunned. One palm smashed a wall into pieces. Part of the wall turned into powder and floated in the air like snow. Ningxi, I kneel before the hero. I have eyes, but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Ningxi could swear to God that she had only seen such power in novels. Only in novels. If she didn't already have a second senior brother, Ningxi would definitely worship this lunatic as her master. Tut! In fact, I can worship second senior brother. Ningxi thought to herself, but she could only think about it. This guy's moves were probably not something an ordinary person could learn. At most, she could learn 1 or 2 moves to save her life. Do you have a grudge against this wall? Han Xiao withdrew his palm and looked at Ningxi in confusion. No grudge. Ningxi shook her head blankly. No grudge? Then why did you ask me to hit the wall? You're crazy. Han Xiao turned and walked into the car. Ningxi, who the fuck was the one that was sick? She was just joking. How would she know that he would really hit it? Wasn't he the crazy one? Hero, what do you want to eat tonight? As long as you can tell me, I'll treat you and teach me a few moves. Ningxi cursed in her heart, but she put on a fawning smile. As soon as she finished speaking, Ningxi's phone suddenly rang. It was Gong Xianxia. Ningxi's face immediately turned serious. I got it. I'll go back now. I hope this time we can suppress the black faith in history. Ningxi dropped the words and hung up. Ningxi's words naturally fell into Han Xiao's ears. You know about black faith too? Han Xiao suddenly became spirited. Of course. Ningxi didn't hide anything from Han Xiao. I'm Ling's boss. Recently, history released Black Creed, and it had a huge impact on our company. Forget it. You wouldn't understand even if I told you. Han Xiao's eyes widened as he looked at Ningxi in astonishment. You're Ling's boss? Is there need to be so surprised? Ningxi snapped. Why didn't you say so earlier? I was the one who designed Black Faith. How is it? Not bad, right? Han Xiao crossed his legs in the car and smiled proudly. You made it. All the famous products in the world were made by you. Great God. Ningxi glanced at Han Xiao. How could she believe him? I really designed it, Han Xiao said seriously. I know, you designed it. Ningxi nodded with a straight face, very cooperative. I'm serious. Han Xiao was not stupid. He knew that Ningxi obviously did not believe him. If you continue to brag to me, believe it or not, I will push you out. Ning, she gritted her teeth and directly opened the door. She was already annoyed by this matter, but this guy kept mentioning it. Black Faith, it's really me. Before Han Xiao could finish his words, he was pushed out of the car by Ning Shi. Han Xiao knocked on the car window, his face full of confusion. It's really me, whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Shi stepped on the accelerator and disappeared, leaving only Han Xiao, who was eating dust on the side of the road. Chapter 1178. Xiling Headquarters. When Ning Shi arrived, Gong Xianxia was having a heated discussion with Master Song Jin. Ever since Song Jin agreed to cooperate, she had been researching new products with Gong Xianxia. However, due to the sudden appearance of Black Faith in history, the two had to make some changes to the original design in order to deal with it. Old Song, you're here. Seeing Song Jin, Ning Shi quickly greeted her. Song Jin nodded. I already know about Black Faith. What do you think, Old Song? Ning Shi asked Song Jin's opinion. It's not bad. It's very artistic. However, since it's a contest of style, it's not like we can't do anything about it. Song Jin smiled, looking confident. Gong Xianxia's face was also full of excitement. He led Ning Shi to the sample room. Boss, take a look at this. There were countless different kinds of clothes in the sample room. It was dazzling. However, the moment Ning Shi stepped in, there was only one left in her sight. Looking at the white dress that was surrounded by fairy clouds, Ning Shi was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She could not hide the surprise and excitement in her tone. This is Song Jin touched the beard on his chin and said meaningfully, "This is Goddess Luo." Goddess Luo? Ning Shi's eyes were full of understanding. Is that the name of this dress? It's really suitable. Lines from Goddess Luo Fu instantly appeared in Ning Shi's mind. Like a graceful swan, like a swimming dragon, glorious autumn chrysanthemum, luxuriant spring pine, like a light cloud covering the moon, drifting like snow in the wind. Looking from afar, it was as bright as the sun rising in the morning. Looking closely, it was as bright as a lotus rising in waves. It was simply too suitable. This gown was named Luoshen. It had a phoenix as the main pattern and was supplemented by auspicious clouds. It displayed the strong beauty of classical mythology in China. From beginning to end, it exuded a strong, immortal aura and a mysterious and distant aura. It formed a sharp contrast with Black Faith. Moreover, it gave people a boundless yearning, a flower, a world, a leaf, a pursuit, a song, a sigh, a lifetime for one person. In short, be it in terms of style or meaning, Goddess Luo was completely created to counter Black Faith. That's great. If it's this shirt, it can definitely compete with Black Faith. Ning Shi said excitedly. Gong Xianxia's expression did not relax in the slightest. He said in a low voice, I'm afraid that the opponent has not even used his full strength. So, we still cannot let our guard down. I'm afraid that the other party will have even more powerful works later on. He had never met anyone who made him feel so threatened. He didn't know if that person was temporarily in history or if he had already been taken in by history. If it was the latter, it would be troublesome. On the other side, history headquarters. After Han Xiao returned, he did not stay idle. Instead, he took the initiative to create new clothes, which made Ning Shui Luo overjoyed. Dai Wei, I need a large amount of cloud brocade. In the design department, Han Xiao called Dai Wei over with a fiery look in his eyes. Yin Jin, Dai Wei was stunned. As a designer, he naturally knew that cloud brocade was an ancient Chinese silk product. It was said to have a history of nearly 1,700 years. In ancient China, cloud brocade represented the pinnacle of fabrics. The clothes worn by the emperors of several eras were made of cloud brocade. It was extremely rare. Chapter 1179. Many of the famous brands in the world also use cloud brocade materials, but compared to the most authentic cloud brocade, it was a completely different concept. There are also diamonds, gold velvet, high-grade hybrid fiber, and old pit-type jade. Han Xiao listed a few materials in a row. Hearing Han Zhao's request, Dai Wei was completely dumbfounded. What was Han Xiao trying to do? Every single one of the materials he mentioned was extremely rare and expensive. There is no need to explain the gold velvet, diamonds, and jade. High-grade hybrid fiber was a high-tech material used in astronaut clothing. Wait a moment. I'll go talk to the boss. Dai Wei smiled apologetically and hurriedly turned around to leave. Dai Wei did not dare to offend the man in front of him. Moreover, although the things he wanted were expensive, he was not asking for them from him, but from Ning Xuelua. A moment later, Dai Wei came to Ning Xuelua's office and told her about Han Zhao's request. I'll prepare it for him as soon as possible. Ning Xuelua agreed without hesitation. After all, Han Zhao's previous performance had already fully proven his strength. Now, Ning Xuelua had full confidence in Han Xiao. The reason why Han Xiao asked for those materials was naturally because he wanted to make better artistic clothing. She was naturally eager to do so. Ning Xuelua was very efficient. In less than 2 days, she had gathered all the materials that Han Xiao needed. As for the price, it could be said to be sky-high, especially the jade stones. They were all high-quality ancient jade stones according to Han Zhao's requirements. After getting the materials, Han Xiao drove the irrelevant people out of the design department and went into seclusion. 3 days later, Han Xiao handed the blueprint and the materials he polished to Ning Xuelua and asked her to make the clothing according to the blueprint. Ning Xuelua spread out the blueprint. In an instant, her heart was beating violently. It looked like hell. Apart from the Azura imps, most of the designs were based on the mysterious beasts from the classic of mountains and seas. Compared to Black Faith, the level of art was higher. Mr. Han Xiao, what's the name of this clothing? Ning Xuelua was a little curious. Living beings, Han Xiao replied. Good name, but only one. Ning Xuelua asked uncertainly. If you have enough funds, you can also consider mass production of these materials, Han Xiao said with a sinister smile. Ning Xuelua immediately shook her head. The materials for these clothes were too expensive. History could not afford to mass-produce them. If there was only one piece, it would be the treasure of history. Zeiling, you'll be able to close soon. Ning Xuelua's lips curled up as a cold light flashed in her eyes. The production of living people would take a week. On the 6th day, Ning Xuel released the news that history was going to announce that it was going to be the treasure of the shop, and its level was much higher than Black Faith. As soon as the news came out, the media swarmed over and waited outside History's headquarters. They all wanted to see History's treasure as soon as possible. There were even many hardcore fans of History who started a live broadcast. History's most treasure game became a hot topic on Weibo. Almost all of the fans were looking forward to it. Just Black Faith alone had already pushed History to a higher level than Black Faith. It was unimaginable. The enthusiasm of History's fans soared. They took the initiative to flame Zeiling and her fans on the internet. The clamor on the internet became more and more intense, showing no signs of stopping. In the beginning, Zeiling's fans would occasionally fight back. However, as time passed, they all fell into silence. There was no response from Zeiling. Chapter 1180. The next morning, almost all the fashion media rushed to History's headquarters. Ning Xuelua proudly led the media to the design department. In the end, she was dumbfounded when she reached the design department. The entire design department was empty. Han Xiao and all living things were nowhere to be seen. The reporters were in an uproar as they looked at each other. Xiao Ning, where's your brand's calming treasure? Could it be some kind of mysterious surprise? Probably. Get ready. While the reporters were discussing, Ning Xuel maintained a calm expression and asked Dai Wei in a low voice, "Where is he? Doesn't he know that I'm bringing reporters here today?" Dai Wei was even more confused. "I told him, and I warned him again and again. Don't worry, I'll call him now." At the same time, Zeiling headquarters. Han Xiao barged into the office while a few security guards followed behind him with bruised faces, not daring to approach. "Who are you looking for?" Xianxia asked as he stared at Han Xiao warily. "Ning Shi," Han Xiao said coldly. "Boss, someone's looking for you." Gong Xianxia glanced at the security guards behind Han Xiao, who were all badly battered. Then, without saying anything, he walked to Ningxi's office and called her out. "Boss, this person forced his way in. We couldn't stop him." One of the security guards explained. "It's fine. You can leave first." Ningxi was stunned when she saw Han Xiao. She glared at him and turned to smile at the security guards. After the security guards left, Ningxi's face darkened. "You came to my company and beat up my security guards. Is this how you treat your benefactor?" Han Xiao said seriously. "Miss Ning, how can you say that? I'm here to give you a gift." "I'm busy." Ningxi was really busy. She looked at Gong Xianxia anxiously. "Didn't history announce the treasure of the store today? Is there any news now?" Gong Xianxia was browsing through the computer. He looked more and more surprised by what he saw. When he heard Ningxi's words, he immediately stopped the mouse and said in confusion, "That's strange. The current news is that all the media are criticizing history for hyping things up. We went to history's headquarters and found nothing. There's no treasure at all." "What?" Hearing this, Ningxi took a sip of coffee and sprayed it all on Han Zhao's face. She looked incredulous. "It's said to surpass black faith in all aspects, but it's just hype?" She had been worried the whole night and hadn't slept at all. She had prepared herself for another wave of attacks from the godly designer in history, but now she had made such a mistake. "Miss Ning, I don't have history's defining treasure, but I do have Zhe Ling's defining treasure." Han Xiao silently wiped away the water stains on his face. Soon after, he opened the box in his hand and threw an extravagant dress in front of Ningxi. Before Ningxi could look at it, Gong Xianxia leaped up and ran over with large strides. He carefully held up the gown with an expression of disbelief. So beautiful." After Ningxi looked at it clearly, she was also stunned. "This style is completely an upgraded version of Black Faith." Gong Xianxia could not help but gasp. Chapter 1181. This time, the unique and classic style of Diablo was displayed to the extreme. It was definitely not something that history's previous Black Faith could be compared to. The only thing that could compare to it was probably the goddess of Luo created by Gong Xianxia and the master of traditional Chinese painting, Songjin. It's so beautiful, and this material, this is, fuck diamonds, and jade, gu yunjin, fuck gold velvet. Ningxi was completely dumbfounded. This was the material used to make this dress, and it was already unimaginable. High-grade mixed fiber. Gong Xianxia touched all living beings, and his expression changed. "High-grade mixed fiber? What's that?" Ningxi asked hurriedly. "Let me tell you, this material is usually used to make spacesuits for astronauts to wear when they go to space," Gong Xianxia explained after a moment of silence. Ningxi didn't know what to say. Although she wasn't a professional, she knew one thing was enough. One word was expensive. So, she immediately helped to pick up the clothes that had fallen to the ground. Then, Ningxi seemed to have thought of something, and her gaze instantly landed on Han Xiao. Her face was as dark as the bottom of a pot, and she clenched her teeth. "Han Xiao, tell me honestly, did you steal this dress from history?" History even got the media here, and they kept saying that the treasure of the store would be born today. How could it be a publicity stunt? Ningxi suspected that this piece of clothing was stolen by Han Xiao, the most precious treasure of the history store. He definitely had the ability to steal a piece of clothing. "This dress?" Han Xiao stared at all living beings. "I made it." Puffed. Ningxi didn't believe him at all. "Black Faith is also mine." "This is called all living beings," Han Xiao said. Ningxi pinched her brows, and her face was powerless. "Hero, why can't we have a good chat? If Ziling's dress was stolen, would you call the police?" Han Xiao narrowed his eyes, and his lips curled into a smile as he asked. "Nonsense, of course I would call the police." "Ning," she said subconsciously. "Then, are you saying that history is dumber than you? Even you know to call the police, but history is silent. Even when the media accused it of being a publicity stunt, it didn't say a word." Han Xiao laughed faintly. Ningxi almost choked to death. "Fuck, who are you calling stupid?" Boss, if history really had such a piece of clothing stolen, it definitely wouldn't remain silent. It would definitely tell the media the truth. The value of this piece of clothing is simply too high, Xianxia immediately said. At the same time, the expression on his face changed slightly as he looked at Han Xiao. As they were speaking, Han Xiao's phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed that it was Dai Wei. Han Xiao picked up the call and turned on the speakerphone. Brother Han Xiao, where did you go? Today is the press conference for All Lives. The fashion media are all at history's headquarters, but you're gone, and All Lives is also gone. In such an urgent situation, Dai Wei's voice was very gentle, without a trace of anger. He also wanted to curse at Han Xiao, but unfortunately, he did not have the guts to do so. What does that have to do with me? Han Xiao asked. Brother Han Xiao, isn't all living beings the treasure that you designed for history? Dai Wei asked weakly. Although his voice was very soft, it was enough for Ning Shi and Xianxia to hear him clearly. Which ear of yours heard me say that? Han Xiao's voice turned cold. No. Then our boss misunderstood. All living beings is my work. I will handle it however I want to. You probably understand what I mean, Han Xiao said. Chapter 1182. Understand very well. Brother Han Xiao's all living things has nothing to do with our history. You didn't sign a contract with the boss. You could do whatever you want with it now. Dai Wei smiled apologetically and even found an excuse for Han Xiao. After Dai Wei finished speaking, Han Xiao directly hung up the phone. On the other side, Ning Shi's face was full of confusion. Thousands of horses were galloping in her heart, but she couldn't say a word. She remembered. Han Xiao did say that he was a designer, but she didn't believe it. Damn it. This violent maniac was actually a design genius, even better than Xianxia. Even if she was given another chance, she wouldn't believe it. This was too heaven-defying. Looking at Ning Shi's shocked and aggrieved expression, Han Xiao was finally satisfied. The Black Faith has brought quite a big shock to your Ling. Consider all beings a small token of my appreciation. Consider it a gift to you, or a compensation. Accept it. What's with this tone of, I'm just giving you a little toy? Ning Shi glanced at the incomparably luxurious dress in her hands. This doesn't seem too appropriate. Han Xiao glanced at her. Don't worry, it's not used to repay the favor from last time. My life isn't that cheap. History definitely wouldn't dare to pursue the matter. You don't have to worry too much. Hey, since you said so, then I'll reluctantly accept it. Ning Shi said reluctantly, but her hands moved quickly to collect the dress. Momo, put the dress away properly. Although Han Xiao's tone was arrogant, she now completely believed that to him, this dress was indeed just a little toy. What's more, it was extorted from Ning Shueluo. Of course she wouldn't let it go. Xianxia looked at this roller coaster that seemed to have completely exceeded his expectations. Even now, he still had a confused expression on his face. The trump card of history that they were most worried about actually knew Ning Shi and seemed to owe her a favor. Their studio's stabilizing treasure of history, which was on guard against a formidable enemy, had now become theirs. This Han Momo, who had been working at the side, was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. It wasn't until Ning Shi asked her to help collect the dress that she came back to her senses and ran over. Also, Momo, inform the media immediately that Xiling will announce the treasure of the store today. Ning Shi decided to strike while the iron was hot. Right after the incident in history, she would publish both sets of Xiling and Han Xiao. All right, I'll go now. Momo was excited. If the people from history saw this, they would die of anger. This was truly making a wedding dress for someone else. While Ning Shi was speaking, Han Xiao suddenly grabbed Xianxia's collar. You want to fight? Ning Shi quickly ran over and slapped his hand away. What are you doing? He's just a powerless designer. Why would he want to fight you? Do you think everyone is like you? Then why is he looking at me like that? Han Xiao asked coldly. Ning Shi pinched her eyebrows. My designer has been wanting to know who the designer of Black Faith is since he saw it. Now you're standing in front of him. He just glanced at you a few times. What's wrong? Can you spare a piece of meat? Chapter 1183. Xianxia was a little embarrassed. I'm sorry, Mr. Han. I'm just very interested in your design style. Han Xiao sized up the handsome young man in front of him. He's the designer of Ling. Yeah. Didn't you praise him last time for catching your eye and making you interested in challenging him? Speaking of this, all right, I should apologize. I really didn't expect you to really be the designer. Now I'm completely convinced. Ning, she cupped her fists. Han Xiao glanced at her. I've said it before, the designer of Ling is not as good as me. I can destroy him in minutes. Do you believe me now? Hearing this, Ning, she suddenly thought of something. Wait. So, the reason why you went to history and caused such a ruckus, is it because I didn't believe you back then? Han Xiao. That's right. Ning, she. What a straightforward answer, bastard. Previously, she had guessed countless times who the expert Ning Luo had hired was and where she had hired him from, but she never thought that it would all be because of her. Ning, she was completely speechless as she held her forehead. Great God, I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. From now on, every word you say, I will believe it without a doubt. I will never doubt you again. Xianxia was also surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect that the reason this person designed Black Faith was because of him. He wasn't angry at Han Zhao's, I can destroy him in minutes at all, because he indeed had the strength to do so, and was instead very honored to be treated as an opponent by such a person. All right, in order to apologize for my blindness, and to thank you for this gift, I'll treat you to dinner after the press conference tonight. Ning, she looked at Han Xiao and said, he naturally wouldn't refuse to eat. Han Xiao pressed down on the brim of his hat, made an okay gesture, then leisurely turned around and left. After Han Xiao left, Xianxia couldn't help but ask Ning Shi, Boss, do you think it's possible to invite Mr. Han to our company? If such a person could join Ling. Ning Shi immediately rejected Xianxia's suggestion without thinking. Don't even think about it, that guy, I can't control him. No matter how powerful a weapon is, if the wielder can't control it, it will only harm himself in the end. Ning Luo was the best example. Moreover, such a carefree person probably wouldn't stay in one place. From his attitude, it could be seen that design was just one of his little hobbies. Hearing this, Xianxia did not say anything more, but his eyes shone even brighter. Some people were just like that. They were so talented that you couldn't even feel jealous of them. You could only lament that there was always someone better than you in the world, and from there, you would have the urge to work hard to reach a higher and vaster place. After a short preparation, Han Momo immediately spread the news that Ling was going to publicize the treasure of the shop. The press conference was held at the Royal Noble Hotel. Although the announcement was very rushed, almost all the media outlets flocked to the news as soon as they heard it, and the news was still spreading rapidly. After all, they had just gotten nothing from history, and Ling immediately said that they were also going to announce their store's treasure. How could they not be curious? This was definitely big news. Chapter 1184. In the multi-purpose hall of the Royal Noble Hotel. It had only been an hour since Ling's news was released, but the spacious hall was already full. Most of the media had just gone to history to find nothing. They were angrily writing articles at home, scolding history for standing them up on purpose. Then, Ling's invitation call came in. It was obvious that there would be big news, so they all rushed over. At the same time, history, who had been troubled by Han Zhao's disappearance, naturally received news that Ling was going to release the treasure of the store. Ning Shuo immediately sent someone to check on the situation. In the end, she was still worried, so she changed her clothes, put on sunglasses, and personally went over. She wanted to see what Ling was up to. No matter what they wanted to do, as long as they could coax Han Xiao back, they would still win. Han Xiao had always been a moody person, so even after the phone call with Han Xiao, Ning Shuo still did not give up. She still asked Dai Wei to use all means to contact him, and even hired the Internet Water Army to guide the public's opinion. On the Internet, History supporters said that history would never deliberately use such a method to hype up the store. There must have been an accident, and after the accident was resolved, the treasure of the store would definitely be released in an absolutely stunning manner. The public relations team that Xiao Weilon had built was very professional, and they had already arranged the release in a short period of time. After most of the reporters had arrived, Xie Chuan, the public relations director of Ling, cleared his throat and said, "Thank you very much for coming, friends from the media. Today, Ling will be releasing a design that we have been preparing for many days. This design was jointly completed by our chief designer, ZX, and the master of traditional Chinese painting, Song Jin, Mr. Song. It will be our treasure." As soon as Xie Chuan's voice fell, the media at the scene was in an uproar. Song Jin? Master of traditional Chinese painting, Song Jin? You must be joking. Didn't Mr. Song live in seclusion a long time ago? I wanted to interview him last time, but I didn't see him at all. Why would he go and work with a clothing company like Ling? This is unbelievable. I think he's bluffing. How can he bluff such a thing? Even history can stand us up. What else is impossible? My friend from the media, please be patient. Our treasure of calmness is about to appear. Today, we are very fortunate to be able to invite our old Mr. Song to be here personally to demonstrate and explain this work of art to us. Following this sentence, the reporters who were still doubting him were all stunned. Fuck, Song Jin would personally come? In an instant, everyone subconsciously held their breath and looked in the direction of the entrance of the hall. This time, Ling's tone was so big. She had invited so many people. If she played them like history did, they would not be able to survive in this circle. In the corner, Ning Shuo, who had personally come to inquire about the news, had a flash of sharpness in her eyes. Song Jin, how is that possible? History had previously attacked Ling for plagiarism because many of the traditional Chinese painting elements on Ling's clothes were the same as Ling's. But now, Ling had actually invited Song Jin to collaborate with him. This was absolutely impossible. Song Jin wasn't someone who could be hired with money. History had also sent people to invite her, but she didn't even say a word. This is impossible. Chapter 1185. Qin Zifen, the marketing director of history, also said, "Boss, don't listen to them. How could it be Song Jin? Maybe he's just Song Jin's disciple, or someone who deceives the world." Song Jin doesn't have a disciple, Ning Shuelua said. It's either that Elder Song isn't feeling well and can't come, or it's just to prove the credibility of this statement. In fact, Elder Song doesn't care about worldly affairs, so she doesn't know what Ling is doing. Even if she knew, I'm afraid she wouldn't care. What kind of cooperation is this? It sounds so nice, but it's most likely because they got their hands on some of Elder Song's works at a high price, so they used elemental transformation on the clothes. I've seen this kind of hype many times, Qin Zifen said confidently. While the media was excited and curious, there were naturally many people who had the same idea as Qin Zifen. Soon, two girls dressed in elemental overalls appeared at the door. They were carefully carrying a gown covered in a thick silk cloth. They placed the gown in the middle of the stage and stood to one side. TSK, at least it's a little better than history. At least there's a dress. Someone murmured in the audience. Even if there is, I don't think it can surpass Black Faith. Ling has little chance of winning. It's useless to forcefully borrow Elder Song's reputation. Hearing about Black Faith, the surrounding people were all amazed. That's true. Not long after that, a spirited old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion slowly walked in, led by a little girl. Seeing the old man led in by Han Momo, there was a sudden gasp. Song Jin was famous both in China and abroad. His portrait and paintings were even printed in school textbooks. Everyone knew him, let alone these media workers. Song Jin. Oh my God, it's really Elder Song. Out of respect for Song Jin, a master of virtue and prestige, all the reporters present stood up in unison. In fact, she didn't expect Song Jin to come in person. Gong Xianxia had communication difficulties, especially when he was in front of the camera. Therefore, in the past, Han Momo had appeared on such occasions on his behalf. Naturally, it was the same this time. However, this press conference was too important, and Gong Xianxia was worried that Momo wouldn't be able to accurately convey the message. Just as he was worrying about it, Elder Song took the initiative to ask him to come forward. In this regard, Ningxi was naturally endlessly grateful. In fact, she had hoped from the start that Elder Song would appear, because unless he personally appeared, it would be too difficult to believe that Zhe Ling and Song Jin were working together. "Old Mr. Song, are you really working with Zhe Ling now?" "Master, why did you choose to work with Xiling instead of other famous brands? Rumor has it that even the #1 brand in China, Step by Step, once invited you to collaborate with them, but you didn't agree. History seems to have invited him as well." The live audience was filled with intense questions from the reporters. The questions came one after another, and they were all about Song Jin. Song Jin coughed lightly and reminded them in a slightly displeased tone, "Today is Zhe Ling's new product launch. I hope everyone knows what's important." After saying this, Song Jin didn't say anything else. She reached out and removed the cloth covering her clothes. With a clatter, the cloth was unwrapped, and Zhe Ling's shop's most prized treasure was revealed. Chapter 1186. The reporters who were still asking Song Jin questions were all stunned on the spot. "Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. Is this Zhe Ling's signature piece? I thought that history's Black Faith was already amazing, but now I see a completely different style of extreme. This is too shocking." ZX's personal style blends perfectly with Elder Song's traditional Chinese painting. The entire outfit makes people feel like they've fallen into a fairyland. "Elder Song, does this outfit have a name?" Song Jin was satisfied with the reporter's reactions. She stroked her white beard and said, "Graceful as a swan, graceful as a dragon. Glorious autumn chrysanthemum, luxuriant spring pine. Like a light cloud covering the moon, swaying like snow in the wind. From afar, it's as bright as the sun rising. From afar, it's as bright as a lotus flower." At this point, a reporter on the scene said excitedly, "Could it be that this set of treasures is called Goddess Luo?" Song Jin nodded. "That's right." As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd exclaimed in surprise again. "Goddess Luo! Goddess Luo! She really lives up to her name. It's so fitting. Zhe Ling is really amazing. Isn't that so? You always surprise us with unexpected surprises. It's a pity. What's a pity? Of course it's a pity. We even got to see Master Song Jin, but we didn't get to see Zhe Ling's legendary designer, ZX. Yeah, he's so mysterious. What do you guys think the code name ZX means? Maybe it's an acronym?" In the corner, Ning Shuiluo's face was contorted in anger. "Damn it. Qin Zifen, what's wrong with you? You didn't even know that Zhe Ling managed to invite Song Jin." Qin Zifen's forehead was covered in cold sweat. How could he have thought that Zhe Ling could invite Song Jin? Besides, he was only in charge of the marketing department. He was not in charge of the design department. "Where's Dai Wei? I think he's still looking for someone." Qin Zifen mumbled weakly. Ning Shuo gritted her teeth. "Humph, what Goddess Luo? As long as we find Han Xiao, we'll crush Zhe Ling." Yes, yes, yes. Of course," Qin Zifen echoed. However, the corner of his mouth was twitching. The problem was that he had to find the person first. That designer's temperament was treacherous, and his whereabouts were uncertain. Moreover, he had already called to say that he wasn't willing to let them use living beings. So where could they find him now? It was useless even if they found it. In fact, when Ning Shuiluo first hired that person, he felt a little uneasy. He felt that Ning Shuiluo would never be able to control such a person. There were too many uncertainties. Now, the thing that he was most worried about had happened. "Boss." Dai Wei walked out from behind Ning Shuiluo while panting. "Did you find him?" Ning Shuiluo asked immediately. Dai Wei shook his head with an awful look on his face. No. I think he blocked me with his phone. I went to the place where he might have gone to eat, but I didn't find him. Trash. It's been so long. Don't you know where he lives?" Ning Shuiluo scolded. Dai Wei's expression turned even uglier. I did try to follow him, but he was too vigilant. I couldn't keep up with him at all. I finally managed to follow him, but he was heading for the graveyard in the middle of the night. I didn't dare to follow him. Chapter 1187. What should we do now? Take a look at Zhe Ling's work. They even managed to invite Song Jin. Ning Xiulo said grumpily. Dai Wei looked at the white gown in the center of the stage and Song Jin, who was explaining the design. His face darkened. No, if he lost this round, he would lose face. How was he going to establish himself in the company? Dai Wei gritted his teeth and said, Boss, don't worry. I'll go to the graveyard to look for it. Then hurry up. Ning Xiulo said angrily. Dear media friends, please don't be in such a hurry to leave. Zhe Ling has a second treasure. Xiachuan's voice came from the stage. Dai Wei stopped in his tracks. Ning Xiulo and Qin Zifen, who were about to leave, also looked at the stage. What? There's a second one? Dai Wei's face turned pale, and then he sneered. Judging from the first one, I can basically guess the style of the second one. One or two are actually the same. Besides, the rarer something is, the more precious it is. Of course, there can only be one treasure to store. How stupid Zhe Ling is to make two. Qin Zifen looked at the stage. They designed two treasures of the same quality in such a short time. Even if the designer had the inspiration, each piece of clothing is expensive. Zhe Ling's liquidity can't support it. Can it? Song Jin had already left the stage. The introducer was changed to a staff member in a black gown. After two staff members carefully moved the cloth-covered clothing out, the staff member in the black dress walked to the center of the stage. Before unveiling the cloth, she explained, First of all, I need to explain to the media that the design of this set of clothing was not made by our designer, Zex, but by another designer specially hired by Zhe Ling. There's only one piece of clothing that he designed for Zhe Ling. It's the complete opposite of Luotian ways. It's designed to give our customers a different experience and satisfy more different needs. Don't talk so much. Quickly open it for me to see. That's right. You're being so mysterious. Show me if you're a mule or a horse. Ning Xiuo sneered as she listened to the staff member's introduction. The complete opposite style? Is Zhe Ling going to make something to counter our black faith? Dai Wei had naturally thought of this as well. That's just wishful thinking. Hanzhao style is something that no one can imitate. The name of our clothes is All Beings. Dai Wei, Ning Xiuo, and Qin Zifen's expressions changed when they heard the words everyone. What? All living beings? Did Zhe Ling steal our ideas? With a hua la sound, the cloth covering the clothes was forcefully removed by the staff. An extremely luxurious, mysterious, and ancient Chinese gown appeared before everyone's eyes. It was not stealing ideas, nor was it imitating others. It was all living beings. This piece of clothing was actually the one Han Xiao had designed. All beings. The three of them stood there in a daze. Their faces were filled with disbelief. The expressions on their faces were like a flashing lantern. Their missing beings, the beings they had searched for so long, had actually appeared at the press conference of Zhe Ling's most precious treasure. Their calming treasure had become a spiritual. Chapter 1188. As soon as All Living Beings was released, countless reporters couldn't help but stand up in excitement. Oh my God, I thought black faith was the limit. I didn't expect. This is too shocking. What kind of aura is needed to suppress this piece of clothing? Of course, among the praises, there were also some doubts. But this isn't Zhe Ling's own design. Didn't the staff just say it? It's a special designer. So what if it's a special designer? Do you think Dai Wei designed history's black faith? Although he's been vague and wants to make people think it's his design, it's definitely not his design, okay? He still hired external help. Although a designer's style can change, there are boundaries and barriers. How can one person control such a big change? It's understandable that Zhe Ling hired external help. Plus, history did it first. Speaking of which, why do I feel like black faith and all living beings are so similar? No matter what, Ling really won this time. Haha, today is so exciting. There's going to be a headline. Looking at Ling's staff introducing Black Faith and listening to the endless exclamations and praises from the media, Ning Shuo was so angry that she almost vomited blood. What style? That was designed by the same person. That was history's thing. Ning Shuo took a deep breath to suppress the sweetness in her throat. Go and call the police. Tell them that history stole our treasure. Dai Wei was troubled. Boss, I'm afraid it's not appropriate. Although I don't know how Ling did it, this outfit was definitely given to them by Han Xiao. So what? Every single piece of jewelry, diamond, and jade on that outfit is my money. Ning Shuo almost lost control and roared. Boss, lower your voice. Dai Wei pulled Ning Shuo to a corner. Although that's what you said, boss, our Black Faith, Han Xiao, didn't take a single cent from it. If we really want to calculate the money, we can't stand on our own 2 feet. Besides, he didn't sign a contract with us. We voluntarily provided these materials to him. Don't mention Black Faith to me. What's the point of a defeated plan? Ning Shuo's face was dark. Of course, Dai Wei knew this. But things have already come to this. So, do you really want me to swallow my anger and watch as Ling's wedding dress is made for me? Dai Wei was also very irritated. Boss, of course I don't want to. However, you really can't provoke Han Xiao. If you don't believe me, then don't blame me for not warning you when the time comes. Dai Wei's words were very serious. Ning Shuo had also heard some of Han Xiao's deeds from him. Even if she was about to explode from anger, she naturally did not dare to do anything. Dai Wei, listen carefully. Everything that has happened now is because of your incompetence. You know what to do. Ning Shui gave him an ultimatum. Dai Wei's fingers were clenched in a fist by his side. The designs that he had stolen from Xianxia had not been completely used up. However, due to the limited number of them and the fact that he had not restrained himself earlier, he had used up too many of them in one go. Now, unless it was a critical moment, he could not simply take them out. However, it seemed like he had to take a few out now. Every time he took out one, it felt like he was cutting his flesh. Chapter 1189. Ling's press conference came to a successful end. She had won a beautiful battle since she took the initiative to declare war not long ago. Not long after the press conference ended, the internet was full of reports about the press conference. There were too many highlights and surprises in Ling's press conference. Coupled with the empty city stratagem of history, Ling's popularity skyrocketed and the public's opinion was on her side. Seeing that everything was going smoothly, Ning Shi's nerves, which had been stretched taut for so many days, finally relaxed. She then took out her phone and called Han Xiao, inviting him to dinner. To show her sincerity, she invited him to her house, along with Xianxia, Han Momo, and Xiao Weilon. Elder Song said she didn't want to disturb the gathering of young people, so she didn't come. Guru, come over for dinner. We all want to thank you. Since you've given us such a big gift, you must treat us to a meal. I'm at Peach Blossom Cove. It's too far. Han Zhao's voice came from a phone. Where do you live? I'll pick you up, okay? Dragon Burial Mountain. Ning Shi's face turned as black as coal when she heard this. I'm sorry, I can't pick you up. How about Pearl River Imperial View? Should this one be closer? Sure. After Han Xiao finished speaking, he hung up. Ning Shi looked at her cell phone speechlessly. Damn it, did someone live in a cemetery? Wasn't he scared to death? She didn't even know where to start. However, she seemed to recall that he seemed to have mentioned that he was also a tombkeeper. This guy's career span, it was hard to understand. Ning Shi went to the supermarket to buy ingredients and went to Pearl River Imperial View to prepare food. Although they had moved, the kitchen utensils were all there. Xianxia and the others arrived one after another. Ning Shi was preparing in the kitchen. Xianxia and Han Momo looked at the dishes Ning Shi prepared on the table with a strange expression. Han Momo looked at the dishes on the table and swallowed. Sister Shi, don't you think you've cooked too much? Ning Shi chuckled. Not much, definitely not much. I'm afraid it's not enough. Wait, there are still some dishes in the kitchen. The doorbell rang. and Ning, she hurriedly went to open the door. Sure enough, it was Han Xiao. He was still dressed in black and white striped sportswear. The hat on his head was taken off, revealing his long, straight hair. Speaking of which, this was the first time she had seen a man with such long hair. Almighty, you really picked a good time to come. The food is just right. Sit down, it's time to eat. Han Xiao sat down at the table. Ning, she brought up the last plate of pig trotters and sat down. Mr. Han, let me give you a toast. Your design is really very impressive. I hope that I'll have the chance to interact more with you in the future. Xianxia raised his cup. Han Momo also said, it's all thanks to Mr. Han that the press conference was a success. History was furious. Thank you so much. Then, Qiao Weilon and Xia Yichuan also said a few words. However, for some reason, Han Zhao's expression was somewhat unsightly. Seeing this, Ning, she didn't know what she had said to make this god unhappy. So she hurriedly asked, Ahem, God, what's wrong? Han Xiao looked up at her. Didn't you invite me to dinner? Ning, she nodded. Yes, yes. Han Xiao continued. I only want to eat. I don't want to chat. Everyone at the table was speechless. Chapter 1190. Ning, she was speechless. She was almost defeated by this person. Okay, I won't talk anymore. For now on, let's stop talking and focus on eating. God, you eat. Only then did Han Xiao slowly pick up his chopsticks. Although he was eating slowly, it didn't hinder his eating speed at all. Soon, the bowls of food on the table were emptied. Han Momo, who was just looking at Han Xiao like a love-struck fool, almost had her eyes pop out. This guy can eat too much. God, you can eat as much as you want today. There's more in the kitchen. Ning, she smiled as she went to the kitchen to bring the rest of the dishes over. Recently, there were a lot of foodies on the internet who started a live broadcast of eating, and it was quite popular. If Han Xiao also started a live broadcast of eating, he would definitely kill those people. They invited the studio's people to join them to show their sincerity, but who knew that they only had food in their eyes. They might even think that they weren't sincere enough for eating with so many people. Therefore, after Xianxia and the others were almost done eating, they tactfully took their leave. After Han Xiao finished sweeping the dishes, Ning, she hurriedly asked, God, were you satisfied with the food? Not bad. It's better than KFC. Ning, her cooking skills had actually fallen to the point of being on par with KFC. After eating, Han Xiao got up and was about to leave. After a few steps, he saw something out of the corner of his eye, and he suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Ning, she followed Han Zhao's line of sight. Han Xiao seemed to be looking in the direction of her cloakroom. To be exact, he was looking at one of the dresses in the cloakroom. Ning, she looked at the dress that Han Xiao was staring at and asked, What? God is interested in that dress. Gentlemen really think alike. That's my personal favorite. It's a very awesome brand that very few people know about. It's called G. Ning, she thought that he was interested in this brand, so she simply walked over and turned the switch on the dressing table. After a clicking sound, the entire wall behind the cloakroom suddenly opened to both sides, and inside appeared a room full of GE brand clothes. Han Xiao stared at the clothes in a trance, and his eyes seemed to reveal an emotion close to sadness, which surprised Ning Shi. Cough! God, is there something wrong with these clothes? I designed it, Han Xiao said. Ning Shi was dumbfounded. Holy shit, you designed it? You're that genius designer who only appears once in a blue moon? To be honest, it was really possible. Do you like it? Han Xiao asked. What do you mean these clothes? Of course. Who wouldn't like such a beautiful woman? I'm sure no girl wouldn't like her. But I don't have the ability to collect so many of them. My boyfriend got them. There's no girl who wouldn't like it. That's good, Han Xiao muttered. His tone was clearly one of joy, but for some reason, he sounded so regretful and lonely. Ning, she touched her chin. TSK, there's a situation. That look in his eyes was clearly related to women. Let's go. Ning, she was confused. Han Xiao waved his hand and turned to leave. How about I give you a ride? I thought you didn't want to go to the cemetery. You really live in a cemetery? Fine, fine, fine. Suit yourself. Chapter 1191. The next day, History held a press conference again, saying that there had been an accident the day before, which was why the press conference had been postponed. Zailing's studio. Gong Xianxia looked at the news headline on the computer screen, and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Director Gong, is this another one of your designs? Han Momo asked tentatively. Gong Xianxia nodded, but there was no anger in his eyes. And it's my earliest work. Some of his early works, though immature, had a childishness and naivety that longtime designers didn't have. No matter how much experience and practice a designer had, they couldn't imitate such a feeling, and it was this feeling that made this set of designs even more valuable. Sure enough, the comments on the internet weren't as stunning and overflowing as Zailing's, but the reviews for History's set of designs were pretty good. Ning, she chuckled. This guy doesn't have much left. It'll only get harder in the future. If I remember correctly, there's still some manuscripts that I'm most proud of. I guess he's saving them for a critical moment. Gong Xianxia said. Oh yeah, Director Gong. Even if you can't remember all of your previous designs, you should at least remember some that left a deep impression, right? Can we publish them before he does? Han Momo suddenly asked. Gong Xianxia shook his head. My manuscripts and electronic manuscripts are all with him, and they have dates on them. If I publish them before he does, I'll only be seen as a plagiarist. Not only that, I have to work hard to get rid of the style and elements of my previous designs. I can't clash with my stolen designs. Fuck, that's so cheap. Han Momo was furious. Just as Ning she was about to speak, her phone rang. It was Lin Jiji. Hello, Sister Jiji. There's a celebrity charity dinner tonight. Attend it, and remember to prepare a suitable charity auction item. It doesn't have to be too expensive or too eye-catching. I'll ask Xiao Tao to accompany you. Okay, got it. Ning she hung up and looked at Gong Xianxia and the others. Keep it up, babies. I'm going to start too. You too, boss. Han Momo cheered. Oh yeah, boss. When will the new movie you mentioned be released? It's been delayed a little because of scheduling issues, but it'll be out soon. Yes, when the time comes, I will definitely ask everyone around me to go and support. When Han Momo said this, she probably didn't expect that it would be so hard to get a ticket. Not only did she fail, but she also had to ask Ning she to open the back door for her to get a few movie tickets. Thanks, today's charity banquet was hosted by a large domestic luxury brand. Big shots from the entertainment industry, as well as celebrities from the political and business world, had been invited. It was the biggest charity banquet of the year, and the entire venue was filled with stars. Many big shots from the political and business world had also come. Ning, she brought along the items she had prepared for the charity auction, and Xiao Tao followed behind her. The moment she stepped into the venue, her vision blurred, and she seemed to see a familiar figure. Cloud depths? How could this be? Ning Shi's gaze pierced through the crowd and stared at the back of the man who had just walked past. She wanted to see the man's hair color, but the man was soon buried in the crowd accompanied by his bodyguards. YS equals Satan equals cloud, deep equals cloud radish. Chapter 1192. Sister Shi, what are you looking at? Little Peach asked suspiciously. Why would that guy come to a charity dinner? That must be a joke. Ning Shi shook her head and stopped thinking about it. Nothing. Let's go. Ning Shi had been wearing Zailing's clothes on many occasions. Because this occasion was more important, Ning Shi didn't choose ready-made clothes. Instead, she wore a high-end custom-made dress. Han Momo had urged her to wear the signature dress, but Ning Shi refused. She couldn't control the signature dress with her current identity, whether it was for Hero Luo or Xianxia. But one day, she would need the signature dress. As Ning Shi walked inside, she bumped into Ning Xue. The set that Ning Xue Luo was wearing was obviously the set that History had just announced yesterday. Suyin came along with Ning Xue. Ning Xue's gown was decorated with handmade flowers, like the Garden of Eden in a fairy tale world. It made her look pure, innocent, delicate, and cute. Su Yin, who was beside her, was dressed in an elegant white suit. He looked as gentle as jade. The two of them looked like a perfect match. Xiaoxi, you're here too. Ning Shu recognized her at a glance. Are you wearing Zailing's clothes today? They look good. Don't you think so, Brother Yin? Ning Shi had worn Zailing's clothes the last time she went to the Ning family. At that time, Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua had scolded her for siding with an outsider. If it was a coincidence last time, then Ning, she had worn Zailing's clothes this time. It could be said that it was completely intentional. Ning Shuo deliberately said these words with a sad and lonely look on her face. Obviously, she was doing it for Su Yin. However, Su Yin, who is usually so attentive, didn't notice Ning Shuo's emotions at this moment. Instead, his eyes fell on Ning Shi. Ning Shi was wearing a white Chinese-style gown with blue and red embroidery. The color of the gown was gradually changing. There were coral embroidery and translucent chiffon. She looked like a fairy. The person in front of him was so close, but she gave him the illusion that she was so far away that he couldn't even touch her. This feeling inexplicably made his heart skip a beat. Su Yin was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses. He nodded and said, "Yeah, it's very nice." Ning Shu noticed Su Yan's absent-mindedness, and a cold gleam flickered across her eyes. Then she took Su Yan's arm intimately with a smile and said to Ning Shi, "Cici, in addition to the charity auction items donated by the stars, there will be several final auction items prepared by the organizers. One of them is a crown called Queen. I like it very much. Brother Yin said he would buy it for me and use it in my wedding. Oh, by the way, Brother Yin and I are about to get engaged. Sister, you must come." Engagement? Ning Shi raised her eyebrows slightly. How could he get engaged so soon regardless of the fact that his career was on the rise? Looks like he's really anxious because of the will. When Xiao Tao heard Ning Shulaw call Ning, she elder sister, she couldn't help but reveal a suspicious look. Why do I feel that the atmosphere between the three of them is weird? Also, Ning Shulaw was getting engaged. Unexpectedly, he found out big news. An engagement party? Ning, she murmured. Yes, elder sister, you'll come. Sorry, I've been busy recently. Next time, I'll definitely go next time. Ning, she said with a smile, and then turned to leave. Xiao Tao was stunned for a moment, and then she almost burst out laughing. Behind her, Ning Shuilua's face turned green. Next engagement? Damn it. She was clearly cursing her for a divorce. Chapter 1193. Su Yin was stunned when he heard that. Then, he realized what was going on, and his face darkened. Ning Shuo was about to complain to Su Yin when a group of reporters surrounded her. She calmed herself down and answered their questions with a smile. Shueluo, did you prepare any special items for the auction today? Nothing special. It's just some personal jewelry. It's Shueluo's personal jewelry. I reckon that it will definitely cause people to raise the prices later. I remember last year, Shueluo, you casually untied a ribbon from your wrist, and it was sold for $1 million. The reporters present all complimented. We're all doing it for charity. Then, Shuo, do you have anything you want to auction today? I do have one. Everyone will know later. It's been a long time since Mr. Su proposed. When will we be able to attend your wedding? Ning Shuo glanced at Su Yin shyly and said, Soon. I'll inform everyone when the time comes. After Ning Shi entered the hall, the celebrities were chatting enthusiastically. On the stage in front, the host and the auctioneer were preparing for the auction. Sister Shi, I'll send the items for auction over, Xiao Tao said. Ning Shi nodded. Go ahead. Because of her status, it was not suitable for her to send anything too expensive. Therefore, Ning Shi chose a jade bracelet that was worth about 30,000 yuan and donated it. Ning Shi adjusted the hem of her dress and found a random seat to sit down. After a while, Xiao Tao returned and handed her a number tag. Every guest had one of these tags. It was used during the auction. However, Ning Shi did not have anything in particular that she wanted to bid for today, so she probably would not need it. After the guests gathered, the host said warmly on the stage, Dear guests, welcome to our annual Celebrity Charity Gala. Our theme this time is Let Charity Become Fashion. After a simple opening speech and the speeches of the celebrities and philanthropists, the gala entered the charity auction segment. The first segment was the auction of the items donated by the celebrities. Some of the items donated by the celebrities were branded bags that they endorsed, some commemorative clothes, and some personal jewelry. Because it was a charity donation, there was no base price. However, the final price would be higher than the original price, and the price was largely linked to the celebrity's status and fame. Because of the schedule, Su Yimo from Xianxia Entertainment was not present this time, so Ning Xiuhua was the center of attention. What's more, she was attending the event with Su Yin in a high-profile manner today. One was the leading actress of Starlight Entertainment, the daughter of the Ning family, and the other was the most popular celebrity in the capital's upper-class circle, the Su family. The two of them naturally attracted everyone's attention. The next item is the diamond bracelet that Miss Ning Xiuhua always wears. There is no reserve price, so please start bidding. As soon as Ning Xiuhua's item was brought out, the crowd immediately began to call out the price. 100,000, 120,000, 180,000, 500,000. A wealthy businessman with a beer belly directly offered a high price of 500,000, causing an uproar at the scene. The original price of Ning Xiuhua's bracelet was at most 200,000 to 300,000, but the wealthy businessman did not raise the price from low to high. He actually doubled the original price. Sorry, my babies are not in a good state today. I've been sleepy and want to sleep. I'll put down the chapter for now. I'll try to get up early tomorrow. Chapter 1194. Even so, the enthusiasm of the bidding didn't decrease at all, and they were all increasing the price by more than 100,000, 600,000, 700,000, 1 million, 1 million, 2 million. Although Ning Xiuhua and Su Yin were a well-known couple, Ning Xiuhua still had an endless stream of admirers and pursuers. Seeing Ning Xiuhua and Su Yin together, many men raised the price out of jealousy. Coupled with the celebrities who supported the Ning and Su families, the price had exceeded 1 million, and it was still increasing, breaking Ning Xiuhua's own record last year. Many of the female celebrities showed an envious expression. Tisk, it's good to have a family background. Wherever she goes, people will protect her. Even her husband is a celebrity of equal status. Unlike us, we've done all kinds of dirty things, but we're still just a plaything in the eyes of those celebrities. She was lucky to be reincarnated. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. How can she be compared to us? 5 million. At this moment, Number 60 raised his paddle. Number 60. Mr. Su raised his paddle. 5 million. Mr. Su bid 5 million. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? On the stage, the auctioneer shouted excitedly to the audience. It was Su Yin who made the bid. Su Yin actually bid 5 million in one go. There was an uproar, since Ning Xiuhua's lover had come out and offered such a high price at once. Those who had supported her just now naturally stopped bidding. As for Ning Xiuhua's admirers, they were all respectable people. They wouldn't really fight for Ning Xiuhua's affection on such an occasion. They could only reluctantly take back their signs. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? No, right? Number 60 once. Number 60 twice. Number 60 3 times. The auctioneer asked 3 times in a row, and when no one else made a bid, he slammed the gavel in his hand. Our Mr. Su Yin has become the winner of Miss Ning Xiuhua's diamond bracelet. Congratulations, Mr. Su. The guests laughed and teased him. Ha ha! Young Master Su is so angry for a beauty. Ning Xiuhua looked at the man beside her with adoration in her eyes. Brother Yin, why are you? Su Yin looked at the girl beside him with a gentle gaze. I was going to take the photo anyway. How could I let someone else take the photo of what's so important to you? Many people remembered that Ning Yaohua was the one who bought Ning Xiuhua's personal jewelry last year. This year it was Su Yin. They couldn't help but secretly sigh at Ning Xiuhua's good life. On the stage, the auctioneer teased Ning Xiuhua and Su Yin. He then continued with the auction. All right, let's continue the auction. The next item is... The auctioneer paused and then said, the next item is a jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning Shi from Xianxia Entertainment. Hearing the auctioneer's voice, Ningxi raised her eyebrows in the corner. Her auction item was right behind Ning Xiaoluo. Xiao Tao glanced in Ning Xiaoluo's direction. Her face was filled with hatred. How could she be behind Ning Xiaoluo? Could it be that someone deliberately arranged this? Ning Xiaoluo was in the limelight just now. Anyone who stood behind her would be suppressed. Chapter 1195. Miss Ningxi, once star and director, was popular costume movie The World with Shui Luo. She played the role of Meng Chang'e, the second female lead, and was very popular with the audience. The auctioneer briefly introduced Ningxi. The World was indeed very popular, but when placed together with Ning Shui Luo, the female lead and the supporting female lead, they were instantly overshadowed. Almost no one in the circle of celebrities knew about such an artist who played a supporting role. After the auctioneer finished, Ningxi stood up and greeted everyone. When they saw Ningxi in person, there was a burst of exclamations. Yo, since when did such a beauty appear in the circle? She's so pretty. There are so many beautiful female celebrities in the industry. Can you stand all of them? This is different. She's really beautiful. Just look at that figure. The only role that's presentable right now is a second female lead. It looks like she hasn't been chosen yet. Why? What do you think, director's son? Hee, a little. Of course, there were many in the celebrity circle who recognized Ningxi. The socialites around Ning Shui Luo couldn't help but discuss when they saw Ningxi. Isn't that the adopted daughter of the Ning family? The adopted daughter of the Ning family? The one who was adopted from the countryside? Yes. I saw her at Grandpa Ning's birthday party. It's her. No way. She changed so much. The first time I saw her was at Shui Luo's coming-of-age ceremony. That woman was so old-fashioned, and she was even wearing fake clothes. I heard that she was chased out of the family because she tried to steal Shui Luo's boyfriend and seduce Su Yan. Later, she went for plastic surgery, and now she's trying to enter the entertainment industry with her vixen face. A pheasant wants to become a phoenix? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? All right, everyone can start bidding, the auctioneer said. However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was an eerie silence. For a moment, no one made a bid. There would never be a situation where no one made a bid on such an occasion, unless someone was deliberately manipulating the situation. Xiao Tao gritted her teeth. I knew someone would do it on purpose. Luckily, we're prepared. Somewhat. Ningxi tilted her head and asked. Xiao Tao nodded. It's to prevent such a situation. I'll inform him immediately. In order to prevent such an embarrassing situation where no one offered a price or deliberately raised the price, many people would prepare some shills in case of emergencies. Lin Jiji also prepared in advance for Ningxi. Just as Xiao Tao was about to inform the other side, someone in the crowd suddenly raised a placard. 1 yuan. Along with this voice, the crowd roared with laughter. Someone actually offered 1 yuan. Who was it? The auctioneer couldn't help but laugh. Number 17, Director Qian's bid is 1 yuan. Boss Qian is really humorous. Boss Qian was the wealthy businessman who had bid the most fiercely during the auction for Ning Shui Luo's bracelet. Fuck, you're going too far. Xiao Tao was furious. That Boss Qian was definitely one of Ning Xiaoluo's people. Fortunately, at this time, another boss made a bid, 10,000. Number 39, Director's son bids 10,000. The host looked at the slightly plump middle-aged man and said, when everyone heard that it was CEO's son who helped Ningxi out, they all revealed meaningful expressions. Who didn't know that this was a famous lecher? Now that he was playing the hero to save the damsel in distress, it was obvious that he had taken a fancy to Ningxi's beauty and wanted to take advantage of her. Chapter 1196. Su Yan's face darkened when he heard Director Sun's offer. His hand that was holding the sign moved, but Ning Shuo covered the back of his hand. Many people knew about the entanglement between them and Ningxi. If Su Yan helped Ningxi, who knew what kind of gossip would spread, Ning Shuo hurriedly said, Brother Yan, it's okay. With Lin Jiji's methods, my sister will definitely have someone ready to help us. Su Yin temporarily suppressed the impulse in his heart. However, when he saw Director Sun looking at Ning, she with undisguised desire, he still felt unspeakably annoyed. Director Sun bids 10,000. Anyone else? The auctioneer asked. 10,001 yuan. In the corner of the seat that was not covered by the lights, a person raised his sign. Buffed. 10,001 yuan? I'm dying of laughter. How can it be such a price? Only 1 yuan. Who is this? The host didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but the other party didn't violate the rules, so he could only say, Mr. Number 8 bids 10,001 yuan. Director Sun frowned and raised his sign, 20,000. Number 8 continued to bid, 20,001 yuan. Director Sun gritted his teeth, 30,000. Number 8 continued, 30,001 yuan. These two people's bids caused a burst of laughter. Ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. Who is this number 8? Could he be Ningxi's shill? This shill is too unprofessional. Who dares to raise the price like this? It's so embarrassing. Ningxi's mouth twitched as she turned to Xiao Tao. Number 8 is our shill? Xiao Tao was stunned. Then she shook her head like a rattle drum and said excitedly, How is that possible? Why would Sister Gigi hire such a stupid shill? I just called, but I don't know what happened, but I suddenly couldn't contact our people. I don't know who this guy is either. Damn it. Could it be that Ning Xiuelua planted him to cause trouble? It must be. This is too much. Xiao Tao almost exploded in anger. Ning, she felt that things were a little strange. She turned slightly and looked at the corner of number 8, but the distance was too far. She couldn't see who the person was. In the end, even Director Sun didn't want to continue bidding in such a shameful way. He gave up bidding angrily, and the others naturally didn't bid again. In the end, Ningxi's jade bracelet was bought by number 8 at the price of 30,001 yuan. The original price of Ningxi's bracelet was 30,000 yuan, and the price that was sold was exactly 1 yuan higher than the original price. Everyone looked at Ningxi with disdain. I knew it. An adopted daughter was an adopted daughter. Even the person he found was so blind. How dare he raise the price like this? What a joke. Ha! That's right. It's the biggest joke in the world. Country bumpkins are ignorant. He hired someone, but he was reluctant to spend more money. That was the only way. Understandable, huh? Ning Xua tilted her head slightly and looked at Chong Li with a delighted expression. She lowered her voice and said, Did you arrange this person? Well done. This Chong Li finally did something decent. Chong Li was actually confused. She had no idea where number 8 came from, but after hearing Ning Xiuelua's words, she didn't deny it and could only laugh it off. Chapter 1197. Big Brother Yin, I told you that my sister would make arrangements. The price of my sister's necklace is not low. It should be about the same as the original price. Ning Xiuelua looked at Su Yin innocently. Su Yin was glad that he didn't make a bid just now. Otherwise, he would be the one to be embarrassed, not President Sun. Xiaoxi was still not experienced enough in dealing with these things. Until the end of the auction of the celebrities' donated items, Xiao Tao was still a little indignant. She almost left her seat and rushed over to see who number 8 was. Finally, Ningxi stopped her. If Xiao Tao went to number 8's side at this time, it would prove that number 8 was the person they arranged. Next, the second round began. The second round was the auction of the last 10 treasures prepared by the organizer. These were all treasures raised by the organizer from the society. The part of the auction that was higher than the original price would all be used for charity. Many political and business celebrities at the scene came for these treasures. The atmosphere became lively again. The auction was in full swing, and the prices of the items were also very high. Ning Xiuelua bid for a pen made of pure gold, saying that she would give it to her father as a gift, which won a lot of praise from the audience. As for Su Yin, he didn't make a bid until the 9th item. The audience couldn't help but be a little curious and asked him, What's wrong? There are so many treasures today. Did young master Su not take a fancy to any of them? Yes, I'm waiting. Su Yin looked at Ning Shuo next to him and smiled. Ning Shuo also smiled shyly. As soon as he finished speaking, the host's voice sounded on the stage. Now we will show the last item, which is also the last treasure of this auction. It is called Queen, and the crown is inlaid with 12 Colombian pear-shaped emeralds. The total weight of the emeralds is 600 carats. It was specially customized by Sarsi, the king of country Y, for Queen Eugenie. It represents his undying love for the queen. It was once auctioned anonymously by a private person for a high price of 30 million. This time, we will auction it for charity. As soon as the introduction came out, everyone suddenly understood. It seemed that Su Yin had been waiting for this item. The two were about to get married, and this crown was obviously prepared by Su Yin to make the beauty happy as a token of love. Sigh. My wife also has her eyes on this item, and she told me to get today. But it seems like there's not much hope now. One of the rich young masters looked at Su Yin with a helpless expression. The other rich businessmen and celebrities who came for the crown also laughed. No matter what, we have to give it a try. Many people had their eyes on this final treasure, and there were also a few who had come for it. At this moment, everyone was eager to try it out. Su Yin's expression was calm, as if he was determined to get it. The Ning and Su families had joined hands, and their businesses were getting bigger and bigger. Especially the Su family, their businesses had expanded overseas, and their financial power was astonishing. It was no wonder that they were so confident. Of course, there were also many powerful people present, and the competition for this item would probably be fierce. Even the auctioneer's tone was unusually excited. Now let the auction begin. Everyone, please bid. 20 million. All right. Now, number 31 Director Zhao is asking for 20 million. Are there any more? 21 million. Number 56 offers 21 million. 23 million. Director Sun has asked for 23 million. Everyone knows that our crown is very precious, and there's still a lot of room for the price to go up. Anyone else? Chapter 1198. Because this item was very expensive, everyone was very conservative when bidding at the beginning. Not only were they lower than the base price, but they were also basically increasing the price by 1 or 2 million. The further they went, the smaller the increments became, especially after the price exceeded the base price of 30 million. Everyone was even more conservative and cautious when bidding. This was because when the price exceeded the base price, it meant that the auctioneer might suffer a loss. Of course, because of the reputation of this item, even if it exceeded the base price by a little, the auctioneer would not suffer too much. Moreover, on such an occasion, whether or not they could successfully bid for it was a matter of face. No one wanted to appear weak in front of others. Therefore, the bidding continued. 38 million. One of the rich businessmen shouted in a hoarse voice. Hearing Director Sun's bid, everyone present was shocked and looked at each other. After a while, someone said, 40 million. Once the price exceeded 40 million, everyone's expressions began to waver. Because it had exceeded the base price by too much, it was not worth it even if they bid for it now. Therefore, there were only a few people left who were relatively strong and extremely interested in this item. Su Yin was one of them. 45 million. Under such a high price, it jumped directly to 45 million. There was an uproar in the scene. The auctioneer's voice was trembling with excitement. Number 60, Mr. Su Yin bids 45 million. Is there anyone else who wants to continue? Although the base price of our crown is 30 million, it is rare in the world. In order to get a higher price, the auctioneer began to introduce the reputation and value of this crown in various ways. After 45 million, there were only 4 people left bidding. In addition to Su Yin, there was also the rich businessman Director Sun, who coveted Ning Shi Zhao Haisheng, who was going to give it to his wife Ling Fei, and the last person was a little special. He was Su Yan's half-brother, Su Sun. Needless to say, Su Sun's reason for bidding was purely to compete with Su Yin. Anyone in the circle knew that Su Yin had a lung disease since he was a child. The Su family was afraid that he would not live past adulthood, So they brought this illegitimate son, Su Sun, with the intention of nurturing him as Su Yan's spare tire. Once Su Yan died, Su Sun would take over. Unfortunately, after Su Yan recuperated in the countryside for a few years, not only did he not die, his body actually recovered little by little, and he was finally brought back by the Su family. And Su Sun, who was originally being nurtured as the successor, suddenly became an extremely awkward existence. Right now, the two brothers were fighting fiercely with each other in the Su family. Unfortunately, Su Yan was the eldest son and was a legitimate son. Su Sun was in an awkward situation, but because of the connections he had accumulated in his early years, he could still fight. Under such an occasion, the two brothers started to fight. It was a great show, 46 million. Su Sun followed Su Yan's bid. Su Yan, 47 million. Su Sun, 48 million. Su Yan, 50 million. Su Sun, 55 million. As soon as Su Sun made his offer, many people present were speechless as they looked at him. This Su clan's second young master was really going all out just for the sake of venting his anger. Mr. Su Sun has offered 55 million. Are there any more? Mr. Zhao, would you like to continue? The auctioneer looked in Zhao Haixing's direction. Zhao Haixing scratched his head. Wait a minute, I have to call my wife. The crowd burst into laughter and ridicule. Chapter 1199. Haha, I'll wait for you then. The auctioneer laughed. Soon, Zhao Haixing came back from the phone call and said with a smile, My wife said it's too expensive. Please continue. Mrs. Zhao is indeed a virtuous housekeeper, the auctioneer said with a smile. Then he looked at President Sunday. What about President Sun? Do you want to continue? 56 million. Sun Zhangpeng glanced in Ning Shi's direction, as if he wanted to show off his strength to the beauty, and said proudly, 56 million. President Sun bids 56 million. Mr. Su, do you want to continue? The auctioneer looked at Su Yan and Su Sun with glowing eyes. Su Sun's face darkened. He had reached the limit of his endurance. If he continued, even if he won the bid, he would suffer a great loss. His remaining supporters would also have a bad opinion of him because of his irrational behavior. In the end, Su Sun could only grit his teeth and say, I give up. The crowd burst into laughter. Ning Shuo also looked at him mockingly. Humph, he's just an illegitimate son. How dare he compete with Su Yan? How ridiculous. In the corner, Xiao Tao was dazzled by the fierce competition. She was so nervous that she almost forgot her anger just now. She tugged at Ning Shi's sleeve and asked nervously, Sister Shi, who do you think will win the crown? Ning Shi yawned in boredom. Who knows? It has nothing to do with us. What charity dinner? She had enough of watching these so-called celebrities and rich businessmen show off for a long time. She might as well donate the money to the people who needed it. But this was the business. She had no choice but to put on a show. No matter how much she donated or how much she did in private, others wouldn't know and wouldn't praise her. Of course, she did it out of her heart and didn't need to. 60 million was a hurdle. The winner would probably be decided soon. Ning Shi packed up her bag and was about to go home to sleep. Xiao Tao was still murmuring excitedly. Although I don't want it to happen, I think Su Yan will still get it. Ning Shuo already said that she came for the crown. The Su family is so rich. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, Su Yan immediately raised the price. 60 million. 60 million. The auctioneer's eyes widened. Mr. Su has bid 60 million. Still no one continuing? Director Sun, do you want to continue filming? Director Sun? Sun Zhangpeng's face and neck turned red. He didn't speak for a long time. It was obvious that the price was beyond his means. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it, but as a businessman, he wouldn't spend 60 million just to buy such a thing, no matter how much he valued his reputation. The auctioneer also knew that this price was already very rare, so he stopped while he was ahead and began to shout, Mr. Su Yan, 60 million once. At this moment, the audience had already begun to exclaim in admiration and congratulate Su Yan. As expected of the Su family, They're indeed rich and overbearing. Even Sun Peng is finished. Ningshui Luo is too lucky. If someone spent so much money to buy a crown for me, I would really wake up laughing in my dreams. Congratulations, young Master Su. You're really going all out for a beauty, haha. What do you mean by going all out? This small amount of money is just a drop in the bucket for young Master Su. Ha, that's true. Remember to invite us to your wedding. Su Yan humbly responded to everyone's compliments. In fact, he was secretly relieved at this moment. He knew in his heart that 60 million was already the bottom price in his heart. If Sun Peng continued to raise the price, he was afraid that he wouldn't follow up anymore. However, at this moment, listening to the crowd's compliments, his heart was still greatly satisfied. Ningshui Luo, who was beside him, intimately held Su Yan's arm. Her face was filled with happiness and sweetness. On the stage, the auctioneer had already begun the second confirmation. 60 million twice, 60 million thrice. As the voice fell, the auctioneer raised the auction hammer in his hand high. Once the hammer fell, the auction was unexpectedly completed. The audience held their breath, waiting for the moment when the hammer fell. However, when the auctioneer's hand that was hanging in midair was halfway down, in the quiet air, in an inconspicuous corner at the back, a sign with the number 8 was raised unhurriedly. 100 million. Chapter 1200. 100 million. The auctioneer was so shocked that he almost dropped the mallet in his hand. He managed to steady himself with great difficulty. He swallowed hard and stammered. Number 8 just offer a price of 100 million. Mr. Number 8 offered 100 million. Oh my God. Many of the guests were anonymous, and Number 8 was one of them. The auctioneer only knew that he was a man, but didn't know who he was, so he just called him by his code name. After the auctioneer's voice fell, the scene was still dead silent for a long time. It was only after a long time that the crowd seemed to wake up from a dream and let out a series of gasps. There were even some people who stood up in excitement and looked towards the corner that no one was interested in. However, there seemed to be only one person sitting at the table in the corner. Moreover, it was against the light, so for a moment they couldn't see who that person was. All they could see was an incomparably fair hand that was holding a sign. Oh my God, did I hear wrongly just now? 100 million? Someone offered 100 million? Is he crazy? Who in the capital has such a rich and inhuman financial resources? Most importantly, who would offer such a high price in an auction? He's throwing money away for fun. Yes, he's throwing money away for fun. 100 million, just for an accessory. Wait, that's not right. If I'm not mistaken, the one who just raised the sign is Number 8? Isn't Number 8 the shill of that little artist named Ningxi? Yes. I remember it too. He raised the price one by one just now. How did it suddenly jump to 100 million? What's going on? Not to mention the celebrities below the stage. Even the auctioneer himself was dumbfounded. He had been an auctioneer for so many years, but this was the first time he had seen such a bid. It actually jumped from 60 million to 100 million in one go. The bidding was as if it was a game. In the end, the host wiped his sweat and ran up to remind the auctioneer. Then the auctioneer came back to his senses and continued his duty. He took a deep breath to calm down and said, Ahem, everyone, please be quiet. We have to continue the auction. Just now, Mr. Su offered 60 million, and the hammer hasn't fallen for the third time, so it doesn't count. Now, our distinguished guest Number 8 has offered a high price of 100 million for the crown queen. That's right. You didn't hear wrong. It's 100 million. Now, does anyone want to continue bidding? Anything else? The auctioneer was extremely excited as he yelled out a series of lines in an encouraging tone. In his hands, he actually managed to get an auction item at such a high price. This was definitely a great achievement in his career. After the auctioneer finished speaking, there was dead silence. The auctioneer subconsciously looked at Su Yan, who was already in the bag. The latter's face was obviously very dark. Being suddenly cut off, And with such a price that completely crushed him to the point where he couldn't resist, no one would be in a good mood. Ning Xiua, who was enjoying everyone's envious gazes, turned pale. She quickly looked at Chongli and asked, "What's going on? Isn't number 8 your man?" Chongli was really confused this time. She had no choice but to tell the truth. No, no. Actually, I wanted to say, I didn't arrange number 8. I don't know who he is. Chapter 1201. What did you say? Ning Xiueluo's face suddenly changed. If it wasn't Chong Li's arrangement, could it really be Ning Xi's shill? Of course, that was absolutely impossible. Then, who was this guy who popped out of nowhere? Not far away, Su Sun, who was sitting on a seat, was extremely pleased to see Su Yin suffer a setback. He glanced over and chuckled. Huh, do you really think that the Imperial City is the Su clan's territory? There's always someone better out there, and the Imperial City has no lack of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Don't think too highly of yourself. You, Ning Xiueluo, was angry, but she didn't have time to argue with him. She hurriedly looked at Su Yin and begged, "Brother Yin." It was already in the bag, and she had already told the reporters that she was determined to get the crown. Everyone also knew that Su Yin was going to use it as a token of love for her when they got married. Now that it had been snatched away in front of everyone, where would she put her face? Therefore, she naturally hoped that Su Yin wouldn't give up and get it back. Su Yin didn't want to show his weakness and lose face at this time. However, after receiving Ning Xiueluo's gaze, he looked even more displeased. After all, it was 100 million yuan, which was almost double the price. He couldn't continue bidding, nor could he afford that much money. Ning Xiu also knew this, so she whispered in Su Yan's ear, "How about I take some more?" Su Yan frowned. "How can I let you pay for it? Besides, the contract was signed on the spot after the hammer fell." What did this mean? It meant that it was easy for him to take out 100 million yuan. If he bid against such a person, it would only make things worse. Ning Xiueluo clenched her nails into her flesh. Damn it, who was this guy? What was his purpose? He jumped out at this time and ruined all her plans. Today was the first step of her wedding with Su Yan. How could such a thing happen? On the stage, the auctioneer saw that no one responded. So he continued, "No more bids, right? Well, number 8, 100 million once. 100 million twice. 100 million thrice." Bang! The auctioneer finally fell the hammer and the transaction was completed. From beginning to end, Su Yin had not said a single word. The price was there, and there was no room for him to speak. Sun Zhan Peng, who had been crushed twice in a row, also had an ugly expression on his face. Congratulations to Mr. Number 8 for obtaining the crown. Now, let's welcome Mr. Number 8 to the stage to claim the treasure that belongs to you. Please. The auctioneer invited excitedly. At the same time, everyone below the stage craned their necks to look down. Could they finally see who that number 8 was? This person was obviously very wealthy, but just now, he deliberately raised the price of a small artist's auction item piece by piece. His actions were so strange that no one could guess what he was thinking. It was really too curious. In the corner, Xiao Tao shook Ning Xi's arm excitedly. Oh my God, 100 million. 100 million. It was too scary. No matter who this person was, it was too satisfying. As long as it wasn't Ning Xiueluo and the others who got it, it was fine. I wrongly accused that fellow just now, but this person is really strange. Why did he raise the price 1 yuan at a time, just now to bid for your worthless bracelet, Sister Shi? Chapter 1202. Is it just because you like that bracelet? Oh, Sister Shi, I was the one who chose that bracelet for you. I didn't expect my taste to be so good, huh? Xiao Tao kept chattering in her ears, and Ning Xi's forehead twitched. She didn't know why, but she had a bad feeling. Number 8's way of doing things. Why did it give her such a strange and familiar feeling? Plus, when she entered the door just now, she seemed to have seen a familiar figure. Just when everyone's eyes were focused on the stage, a tall and sturdy bodyguard in a black shirt and pants walked onto the stage. He whispered something to the host and the auctioneer. Then, he quickly signed the transaction contract, paid the money, and left. 100 million. 100 million. He just casually paid and signed the contract. It was worth noting that when the man left, he didn't take the crown with him. What's going on? He doesn't want a crown anymore? The audience was confused. Then, the auctioneer carefully held the crown with both hands and looked down at the audience, his eyes shining, and said excitedly, "Everyone, just now I was entrusted by the honorable guest number 8. It turns out that Mr. Number 8 bought this crown at a sky-high price to give to a lady below the stage. Mr. Number 8 is this lady's loyal fan." What? It's a gift? Fuck. It's a gift on the spot. Who is this beast? Spending 100 million to coax a woman. Loyal fan? Looks like it's a female celebrity. This idol chasing is simply outrageous. Fuck. Whose fan is this? He's so brave. I'll bet 100 yuan. It's Ning Shueluo's fan. Shueluo's fans have always been brave. Xiao Tao stretched her head to look, and as she looked, she angrily muttered, "Could it be Ning Shueluo's fan?" "No. Please don't. Please, please. If it's Ning Shueluo's fan, I'll kill myself on the stage." Ning, she was speechless. At that moment, the audience below the stage was almost drowned in discussions. Several famous female stars and movie queens, including Ning Shueluo, were all looking at them with burning and gossipy eyes. The auctioneer didn't announce until he was done with the suspense. The giver of the crown is Ning Shi. Miss Ning. Just now, our Mr. 8 even bought the jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning. It can be seen that he is indeed a true fan. The auctioneer teased jokingly. He had originally wanted to liven up the atmosphere, but the people below looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their jaws and glasses fell to the ground. Fuck. Auctioneer, are you kidding me? Are you sure you're a true fan and not an anti-fan? In the corner, Xiao Tao's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. At the same time, Ning Shi's phone suddenly rang. She received a new message. "Dear, did you like the present? Cinder." Cloud Radish Ning. She pinched the space between her brows as she looked at the 3 words Cloud Radish that she'd personally changed back then. The veins on her forehead bulged violently, and her face alternated between green and purple. It was simply as if she'd gone mad. "Congratulations. Joy. You. Sister." She was thinking, this inexplicably familiar, crazy way of doing things, in the end, it really was that guy. Good night. There are a total of 9 updates today. Update is over. Continue to ask for monthly votes. Those who have already voted can vote for recommendation. Recommendation votes can be voted every day. Love Mudcute. Kiss me one by one. Chapter 1203. Oh my God. Sister Shi. Sister Shi, did you hear that? That crown worth 100 million was actually given to you. It's for you. That number 8 is your fan. I almost thought it was your black. Seeing Xiao Tao's state, even if she didn't smash her head against a pillar, she would still be excited to death. Looking at the reactions of the others, one would realize that Xiao Tao was actually quite calm. Let's welcome Miss Ning to the stage. Hearing the host's words, the audience was in an uproar. It's Ning Shi. How could this be? Shouldn't Miss Ning be referring to Shueluo? Is there a mistake somewhere? Next, let's welcome Ning Shi. Miss Ning Shi. The host probably heard the discussion below, so he specially emphasized Ning Shi's name. Finally, no one questioned her anymore. The base price of this crown is 30 million yuan. Now it's sold for 100 million yuan, which means that this auction item has raised 70 million yuan for us. Miss Ning, you are undoubtedly the guest who has raised the most money for us in this auction. Thank you very much for your contribution to charity, and I sincerely wish your acting career will get better and better. On the stage, the host was enthusiastically complimenting Ning Shi. Ning Shue's face was extremely ugly. She was completely overwhelmed by jealousy and hatred. No matter how hard she thought, she would never have thought that the person who snatched the crown was Ning Shi. Ning Shueluo was so angry that her entire body was trembling. When she looked at Su Yin, she had an extremely sad and wronged expression on her face. "Brother Yin, why? Why does my sister treat me like this? She clearly knows that I like this crown. She clearly knows what this crown means to me. Why does she have to snatch anything that belongs to me? Su Yin didn't expect this result at all. He pinched his eyebrows tiredly and said, Shui Luo, Xiaoxi, didn't mean it. Didn't mean it? How could there be so many coincidences? When you proposed to me at the party last time, she used all kinds of means to steal my limelight, and now she did it again. She just can't stand me. I put up with her again and again, but she bullied me again and again. Big brother Yin, I really can't take it anymore. Shui Luo, no matter how capable Xiaoxi is, it's impossible for her to do this. She must really be your fan. Don't be sad. I'll prepare a better one for you later. Big brother Yin, why are you always speaking up for her? Is she going to snatch you away as well? Are you regretting being with me? Don't spout nonsense. In a black car, the moment a silver-haired man stepped in, Feng Xiaoxiao immediately rubbed her hands together excitedly. How is it? How is it? This move of mine is not bad, right? A hero saving a damsel in distress would definitely work 100 times. Little junior sister, are you especially touched? As soon as she finished speaking, the man's long and narrow eyes glanced at her coldly. Feng Xiaoxiao's scalp went numb from the stare, and she coughed weakly. What's wrong? The man casually tossed a black phone over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly caught it and looked at her phone. In the end, she saw this conversation. Dear, did you like the present? Joy. Joy. You. Sister. Feng Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. This doesn't make sense. Sorry, my dear friends. I've written too much. Most of the time, it's not because I'm busy, but because I'm in con. Chapter 1204. How is that possible? Little junior sister, isn't that unreasonable? Feng Xiaoxiao looked at the text message again and again, getting more and more confused. The man narrowed his eyes and said lazily with a hint of danger, Are you saying I'm being unreasonable? Feng Xiaoxiao coughed lightly and waved her hands hurriedly. No. How could that be? But this outcome is way too different from what I expected. Boss, did you really do as I said? Little junior sister hates those two scumbags the most in the country. You help her slap their faces. Even if she doesn't appreciate it, she shouldn't have scolded you. The more Feng Xiaoxiao thought about it, the more confused she became. She then looked at Tang Yi, who was sitting next to the silver-haired man. Elder senior brother, can you tell me what exactly happened? Be more specific. Tang Yi's face reflected the faint glow of the laptop. He tapped on the laptop a few times and handed it over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly looked at the laptop and saw that it was a live broadcast of the charity gala. The live broadcast was done on a working day by the organizers. It had a lot of views and was currently at the top of the list. It was obvious that something shocking must have happened at the charity gala. Feng Xiaoxiao clicked on the screen excitedly, but the more she watched, the uglier her expression became. In the end, her face was so horrible that she couldn't bear to look at it. Feng Xiaoxiao closed the laptop and looked at the two men sitting in front of her with a pale face and trembling hands. You guys, after a long while, Feng Xiaoxiao, who was about to explode from anger, finally regained the ability to speak. My beloved boss, please allow me to sincerely ask you, why do you want to increase a dollar? What's wrong with your brain? I did it willingly. Is there a problem? The silver-haired man glanced at her. Feng Xiaoxiao pounded her chest and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She couldn't communicate properly with the man in front of her. She could only turn to Tang Yi and roar in anger. Elder senior brother, you know how high boss's EQ is. But why didn't you stop her? Tang Yi opened his laptop and started working on those complicated financial reports again. He didn't even raise his head when he heard this. Why should I stop her? Feng Xiaoxiao, heavens! Someone come and save me. She was about to be angered to death by this group of bastards with zero EQ. He really shouldn't have held any hope for them. Feng Xiaoxiao struggled as if he had just escaped from death and said weakly, Boss, since you hire me to be your dog-head army, pooey, love counselor, then you should strictly follow the method I taught you, and don't add scenes for yourself, okay? What's the difference between your previous actions and those of an anti-fan? Junior sister might even suspect that you're sent by Ning Xiaolua. How troublesome. The silver-haired man faintly looked irritated. Feng Xiaoxiao was afraid of angering him, so she quickly softened her tone. Sai, my boss, if you want to tie down Junior sister's heart, it's inevitable that you'll encounter some trouble. In fact, this guy's low EQ was all because of money. To him, he only needed one trick to deal with women. Throw money, throw money, throw money. Add to that he had no interest in the affairs of men and women, and his brain circuit was unimaginable. Naturally, he would never think of studying those complicated things. Chapter 1205. She had hoped that eldest senior brother would be able to give her some advice, but it turned out that the two of them were equally matched. She could not count on him at all. The only people in the organization who she had a good relationship with and had normal brain circuits were little junior sister and second senior brother. Now that both of them were gone, she was the only one left. Every day, she was so angry that her liver hurt. If she was not so lonely, she would not have compromised to help that guy chase after little junior sister. If she could really get little junior sister back, of course, it would be a happy ending. Unfortunately, after trying once, she would rather go to the countryside to farm than teach this guy how to chase after women. 100 million was wasted just like that. Haha, Lu Group, CEO's office. Second young master. Second young master, you're here. Hello, second young master. Where's my brother? The CEO is in the office. Lu Jingli did not have time to pay attention to anyone. He passed through the staff area like a whirlwind and ran straight in the direction of the CEO's office. Lu Jingli pushed the door open and slammed his hands on his brother's desk with a loud bang. Fuck. Brother, why are you still in the company? Stop working. Lu Tingxiao looked up from a pile of complicated documents and pinched his tired eyebrows. What's the matter? Of course there's something. Something big has happened. Who the fuck is coveting your wife? Lu Jingli was furious. His little expression was even angrier than if his wife had been stolen, even though he did not have a wife. Lu Tingxiao's expression froze, and he cast a suspicious look. Lu Jingli immediately rushed over and used Lu Tingxiao's computer to search for a video. Brother, look, 100 million, 100 million. What kind of fan makes it sound so nice? He's coveting your wife's beauty. But I don't know why this guy deliberately teased little Cece in the beginning. Is it to leave a deeper impression on little Cece? It must be so. He's so insidious. Brother, you can't lose. Look, I've already chosen all the gifts for you. Every single one of them is definitely better than that crown. Lu Jingli talked nonstop for a long time, and he even opened the iPad in his hand to show Lu Tingxiao the gifts he had found. There was a crown, a ring, and even a sports car. There was a complete range of gifts, everything that one could ask for. From the looks of it, he was determined to win this round. Lu Tingxiao's gaze lingered for a few seconds on the corner with the number 8 sign, his face expressionless. Brother, can you hear me? The enemy is coming at us ferociously, so we can't show any weakness. Take a look at any of these gifts, and I'll go buy it immediately. Lu Jingli roared anxiously. Lu Tingxiao, no need. Why wouldn't I? It's absolutely necessary, I'm telling you. Although you have a good relationship with little Cece, you also need to maintain a relationship. Gifts are very important. Lu Jingli had a serious expression on his face, and then he frowned and muttered, and this number may 8th be a little tricky. Even I haven't found out who he is. Who in the capital has such financial resources that I don't know? But one thing is for sure, he's definitely a crazy admirer of little Cece. Otherwise, how could he spend so much money? I just don't know what his relationship with little Cece is. Is it possible that they know each other? Lu Tingxiao leaned back in his chair, his face cold and his tone calm. He's just an ex-boyfriend. Lu Jingli. Chapter 1206. What? Lu Jingli's eyes widened. Ex-boyfriend? This guy is Cece's ex-boyfriend? Brother, how do you know? Lu Tingxiao did not speak, and continued to read the document. To be able to casually take out 100 million in liquid funds, coupled with such an unbridled and arrogant way of doing things, he did not need to check to know who it was. In that person, Xianxia had once said that she had dated him for a day. Even if Xianxia used to like him, or even love him, it was just in the past. Lu Jingli looked at his brother's calmness and expressed his admiration. That's right. Number 8 and Su Yin are just ex-boyfriends. So what if they fight to the death with each other? Brother, you are the legal wife. He. Lu Tingxiao finished reading the last document in his hand, then picked up his coat and got up to leave. Brother, where are you going? Lu Jingli asked hurriedly. To prepare a gift. Huh? You're going to give Cici a gift? What are you going to give her? Don't you need me to choose? Lu Jingli was disappointed, but at the same time, he was also curious. Did his brother have a better gift for Cici? On the other hand, after the banquet, Xianxia asked Xiaotao to go back first, and then sent a text message to Annie to ask her out to meet. Although 70 million yuan of this crown was for charity, 30 million yuan was still a huge amount. Because it was a gift from someone else, it was not appropriate for her to donate it without permission, so she could only accept it for the time being. Now, she could only ask Annie to return it. She knew that the money was just a drop in the bucket for someone, and she also knew that he would never take back what he had given away. However, she also had her principles. She already had a big devil, so naturally, she would not accept gifts from other men. Although that guy was actually not in the category of human to her. Before she met Annie, she made a trip back and brought the huge diamond with her. She also brought the gift that she had prepared for Annie, in a private room in a restaurant. Brother Shi, Annie was very happy to see Xianxia. This is for you. Xianxia handed her a pink bag. Annie looked at the extremely cute cartoon-shaped biscuits in the bag, and her eyes lit up. Wow, so cute. For me? Brother Shi, where did you buy it? I made it. Don't mind. What? Brother Shi? You made it yourself? Why would he despise it? I love it so much. Thank you, Brother Shi. Annie held it in her arms like a baby. She didn't expect Brother Shi to be able to make such a cute thing. Her face was full of surprise. I should be the one thanking you. The prescription you gave my grandpa last time was very effective. Xianxia thanked him. It's just a piece of cake. By the way, Brother Shi, are you looking for me for something else? Annie asked tentatively. Xianxia glanced at her. You know what happened today? Actually, I'm not too sure either. I only know that boss, Brother Yi, and Sister Xiao went out together. I think they went to look for you. Have you guys met? Xianxia's mouth twitched. Eldest senior brother and third senior sister also went. What the hell are these guys doing? Xianxia pinched the space between her eyebrows. I actually have another favor to ask of you. I hope you can help me return 2 things to Satan. Based on his personality, it's very likely that he won't accept it. Just help me secretly put it back in his room. Actually, I was going to do it myself, but, I really don't want to go to that damn place you guys live. Chapter 12:07. Annie looked at the things Xianxia gave her. She seemed to have a lot to say, but probably felt it was useless to say it. In the end, she just said, okay. Brother Shi, I'll put it back for you. Thanks. In a gloomy villa on the outskirts of the city, Annie remembered Xia's instructions. As soon as she returned, she quietly pushed open the door of her room. Boss shouldn't be back at this time. The house was quiet, and there was no light. She felt her way to the cabinet quietly and wanted to put something into the cabinet secretly. She was going to put it in the cabinet secretly. However, as soon as she opened the cabinet door, the candle on the wall lit up, and she suddenly heard a faint voice. Little bait, what are you looking for? Annie jumped up in fright. She looked at the man leaning on the bed behind her, and her face turned pale. No, I'm not looking for anything. I'm not stealing. I'm just... Hand. The man's voice was extremely cold. Annie had no choice but to take out the diamond and crown from the bag to show her innocence. Seeing those 2 things, the man immediately understood, and his aura suddenly became cold. The other one. Annie could only put the things in her right hand on the bed. From the transparent plastic bag, She could see the cookies in various cute shapes inside. Leave the right hand and throw away the left. Did he mean that she should leave the cookies and throw away the others? But, the cookies were given to me by Brother Annie looked reluctant. The man looked at her coldly. Annie was so scared that she immediately threw away the cookies and ran away. Oh, how could she do this? Those were the cookies given to me by Brother Peach Blossom Doc. Ning, she asked Annie to send the things back and finally put an end to one of her worries. After a whole day, she was almost dead tired. After entering the room, she changed into slippers, threw the bag on the sofa, and began to take off her clothes while walking to the bedroom. When she walked to the bedroom, she threw away her coat, took off her stockings, pulled out her bra, and threw it away with a swish. She let out a comfortable sigh and then threw her whole body on the soft and fluffy big bed. But as soon as she threw herself, she was stunned. Why did it feel wrong? This hard, warm, full of explosive power. What's going on with the touch of his skin? Did my quill turn into a spirit? Ning, she's claws lifted up from the warmth, as if she had been electrocuted. Then she fumbled for the switch of the bedside lamp. In an instant, the lights in the bedroom brightened. Then she saw the Demon King was leaning against the bed, wearing a pair of silver-rimmed glasses. Beside him was a book that she had thrown away. At this moment, the man was wearing pajamas. His hair was slightly wet, and he looked like he had just taken a shower. His pajamas had been completely torn by her, revealing a large area of his honey-colored skin. This lazy and leisurely attitude, which was the complete opposite of his usual aloof and abstinence, was simply irresistible. Ning, she touched her pounding heart, and her breathing was a little unstable. Lu Tingxiao, why are you here? You scared me. The man lifted the blanket next to him, and his deep voice lingered in her ears. Come here. Ning, she swallowed her saliva and crawled over. She raised her head to look at the man above her head with sparkling eyes. Sweetheart, what's going on? Why are you suddenly so enthusiastic? Not only did she warm his bed, but she also slept with him. The man raised an eyebrow. You don't like it? Chapter 12:08. Ning, she shook her head like a rattle. How is that possible? How could she not like him? It was just that her heart couldn't take it. As if satisfied with this answer, the man planted a kiss on the girl's forehead and then lingered on to the corner of her lips. Bit by bit, like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, the seemingly gentle kiss was like a surging tide that would erupt in the next second. Ning, she's fingers reached into the hair that was kissing her sensitive collarbone. She was acutely aware that the man wasn't as calm as he appeared to be. Could it be that the great Demon King knows what happened today? She had only attended a charity dinner. Logically speaking, Lu Tingxiao couldn't have known everything since he was so busy with work. However, he had the king of gossip, Lu Jingli, by his side, so there was a high chance that he knew. Which one do you like more? The man asked again. Ning Shi's heart skipped a beat, damn. He knew. Lu Jingli was such a blabbermouth. Damn it, I'll deal with him later. It's more important to coax my wife first. Ning Shi turned over and pressed the man under her. What do you like more? There's no more. I only like you. I only like you. The dangerous look in a man's eyes turned into a burning flame, and he tightened his grip on her waist. Lu Jingli, that blabbermouth. What nonsense is he spouting now? I've already asked someone to return the fan's gift, and the bracelet that was auctioned off wasn't something that I wear all the time. It was something that Xiao Tao bought for me. I'm a married man, and I only accept gift from my sweetheart. Ning, she seemed to have realized something as she spoke. She chuckled. So, you're suddenly so passionate today. So for me a gift? TSK. If I had known that I could get benefits this way, I would have hired a few more fans to make you jealous a few more times. Are you sure you can take it? The man looked at her meaningfully. Ning, she's heart trembled. She laughed dryly. I was just saying, when will the movie be released? The man looked at her and suddenly asked. Ning, she was startled by the sudden change of topic. To her ears, the question was like asking, when are you going to marry me? After a short moment of absent-mindedness, Ning, she came back to her senses. I spoke to director Sean on the phone yesterday. He said that it will be released next week. Shall we go and watch it together? She already regretted that she didn't get to watch Under the Heavens with the Devil. Now, this movie was even more rare. It was filmed with the devil, so it was even more memorable. Lu Tingxiao nodded. Yes. Ah, right. The movie that was snatched away by Liang Biqin is premiering tomorrow. For the past few days, there has been explosive publicity and hype. They say that the script is exquisite, the production is excellent, the special effects are awesome, and there are superstars. They say that any passerby is a best actor. When the time comes, it will definitely break box office records. I'm going to check out the situation tomorrow and see how the filming is going, but I don't want to contribute to her box office. Ningxi murmured. Lu Tingxiao moved the laptop over and clicked on it. Then, a movie started playing on the screen. It was Liang Biqin's I Only Like You. Ningxi's eyes widened. Damn, boss, you're too awesome. You even got the negatives? Moreover, it's super clear. Chapter 1209. The movie hadn't even been released yet, but Lu Tingxiao had already gotten the negatives. It was obvious that he had done it for her. Ning, she sighed emotionally. We're watching Liang Biqin's movie on such a beautiful day. It's such a waste. What do you want to watch? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ning, she seemed to have thought of something. She chuckled and touched her chin. We should watch some action movies, something like that. Wouldn't it be better? The man glanced at her. Do you think I need to watch that when you're by my side? Ning, she was speechless. The devil was getting more and more cunning. She realized that every time she teased him, she would be teased back. Ahem, let's watch the movie. Let's watch the movie. The movie was nearly 2 hours long, but Ning, she didn't fast forward it. To be honest, Ning, she didn't think it was as bad as she had imagined after watching it. Liang Biqin's movie wasn't as good as Shen Mian's, but it had a strong story and a novel theme. Otherwise, Ning, she wouldn't have liked it in the first place. After all, the script was there, and so much money had been spent on it. The effect was okay. From her professional point of view, there were many dangerous scenes with stunt doubles, and Liang Biqin's acting was a little awkward, but there weren't many problems. With so much money spent on the publicity and the support of so many big names, the box office would definitely be recovered. The above was from the perspective of the general public and the audience. Of course, if she were to look at it from her personal point of view and evaluation standards, this was a piece of trash. The actors' acting skills were not focused at all. Even the best actress and best actor veterans were not in their best state. It was as if they were playing a game, which made her furious. But that was how movies were made these days. Even if there wasn't a good quality, the box office could be made with publicity and star power. That was why directors and investors value the actors' fame more than their acting skills. Boss, what do you think of Liang Biqin's movie? Ning, she looked up and asked for Lu Tingxiao's opinion. In the end, well, as soon as she raised her head, she met his eyes. Could it be that he hadn't watched the movie at all and had only watched her? Well, the Demon King's reaction seemed to represent his opinion of the movie. It's not attractive at all. Oh, Mr. Boss, when Director Shun called me yesterday, he asked me if I've been in contact with you recently. I mean, Kumingyu. I think he wants to introduce you to an agent. Ning, she said. I'll arrange it later, Lu Tingxiao said. Ning, she's eyes lit up. You want an agent? You mean, you're not leaving after this film, and I'll still have a chance to film with you in the future? Lu Tingxiao glanced at her lightly. Don't you want to have sex with me? I will satisfy you. Holy shit, the great Demon King's flirting was too much. Ning, she howled and pounced over. Oh my god. Previously, when I told Jiangmai that I wanted to keep you as my mistress, he even laughed at me and said that it would be the next life. I didn't expect that I would have such a chance in my lifetime. Sweetheart, I love you so much. Chapter 1210. That night, in a private room of a high-end hotel in the imperial capital. The room was bustling with noise, and the atmosphere was very lively as people toasted each other. The director of I Only Like You, Wuxia, the producer, Liang Biqin, and the other main actors and crew were all present. A shrewd middle-aged man in an Armani suit was sitting in the main seat. He was Cui Zhihao, the manager of House of Million Cinema. House of Million Cinema ranked first in the national box office rankings with a revenue of 3.8 billion yuan. For a movie, the cinema manager could be said to be in control of the movie's first day of screening. Once Cui Zhihao was settled, the guarantee of the box office was almost half a success. In the circle, in order to get a higher number of screenings, accompanying people for meals and drinks were child's play. Naked bribery, such as rebates and red packets, had long become the norm in the industry, even in the first-tier imperial capital. At the dinner table, director Xianxia enthusiastically toasted Cui Zhihao. "Come, Manager Cui, let me toast you again. Our movie depends on you," Xianxia said as he gave Liang Biqin a look. Liang Biqin immediately went over to pour a glass of wine for Cui Zhihao, her heaving chest rubbing against Cui Zhihao's arm. Another actress was not to be outdone and flattered Cui Zhihao in a different way. "I've long heard that as long as a film is favored by Manager Cui, it will definitely be a hit," Xianxia immediately echoed. "Manager Cui is the wind vane of our industry." On Cui Zhihao's left was Liang Biqin, and on his right was a beautiful second female lead. They hugged each other, their faces flushed. He laughed and said, "What are you talking about, Director Zhang?" Director Zhang's film has a novel theme, and the audience is all young people. It's currently the main force in the box office. Not to mention the actors and actresses, the publicity is so awesome. Even if you didn't mention it, I would definitely give priority to it. Manager Cui, you're really overpraising me. In the end, you're the one who decides what film the audience wants to watch in the cinema. No matter how good our film is, it can't do without your support. Xianxia saw that the atmosphere was about right, so he leaned over and secretly showed 5 fingers to Cui Zhihao. "As long as Manager Cui fully supports me, I can make the decision here and give you this amount directly." Cui Zhihao saw the number Xianxia showed, and his eyes immediately lit up. This meant that they were going to give him a 5% rebate. Under normal circumstances, if the film distributor wanted to cooperate with the cinema would increase the number of screenings of the film appropriately, but the premise was that they would receive a certain amount of box office rebates, also known as red packets. Most of the gray income fell into the hands of the theater managers. In the industry, the rebate in most cases was 3%, so Xianxia's offer could be said to be very sincere. With Xianxia's movie's investment, cast, and popularity, a box office of 300 million yuan was guaranteed. According to the 5% rebate, he could get tens of millions of yuan. Thinking of this, Cui Zhihao immediately smiled and said, "Director Zhang, don't worry. I can give you this number." Cui Zhihao also showed Xianxia 5 fingers, a 50% screening rate. Xianxia immediately showed a satisfied and delighted expression. "Manager Cui, you're indeed straightforward. In the current market environment, if a film could occupy more than 30% of the screenings, it meant that it had 50,000 screenings per day. It was definitely at the level of a blockbuster. Even Hollywood blockbusters that were popular some time ago only had 50% of the screenings." Chapter 12:11. Cui Zhihao seemed to have thought of something as he revealed a suspicious expression. "But, Director Zhang, there's something I don't quite understand. Wasn't your film supposed to be released next month? Why did it suddenly move forward to this month?" I wonder if Manager Cui knows that Shin Mian has a new film coming out recently?" Xianxia asked meaningfully. Cui Zhihao thought for a moment. "Of course, the great director Shin knows about it. I was surprised before that director Shin actually released a new film without any news at all. I paid special attention to it and found out that all the actors this time are newcomers." Xianxia chuckled. Director Shin's film is very coincidental. The theme is also a youth comedy, and it's also a woman dressed as a man. I'm really afraid of Director Shin's reputation. The audience had preconceived notions. When two films with the same theme were released, they would generally prefer to see which one they would watch first. Although Xianxia said that, in reality, his tone was full of mockery and disdain. Cui Zhihao immediately understood what Xianxia meant. All these years, Xianxia had always been suppressed by Shen Mian. It seemed like he was planning to use this opportunity to suppress Shen Mian in one fell swoop. Even if he wanted to release the film before Shen Mian, due to preconceived notions, he could have waited a little longer because the same theme would cause competition among the audience. However, Xianxia purposely released the film 2 days later than Shen Mian's and released it almost at the same time. It was obvious that he was planning to steal all the market share of Shen Mian's film and directly suppress it to death. Shen Mian's film did not have a big shot or a backer. How could it compete with Xianxia? It was almost a dead end. Cui Zhihao shook his head and said, "Hee, Shen Mian is indeed amazing, but it's also a fact that the box office has been going downhill these years. It's almost impossible for it to regain its former glory. Now, he's willfully produced such a low-budget film. Does he think he's still the Shen Mian from 10 years ago? Is the film market still the same as it was 10 years ago? It's not that I want to say this, but director Shen really made a mistake this time. His long-accumulated reputation might be destroyed because of this film." Xianxia poured a glass of wine for Cui Zhihao and asked casually, "How does Manager Cui plan to arrange director Shen's schedule?" Cui Zhihao gave him a knowing look. "Of course, we'll do what we need to do. Our cinema isn't a charity. We're all here to make money. Even with Shen Mian's reputation, this movie obviously can't hold up at the box office. At most, we'll get a 10% screening rate." After the negotiation, both parties continued to drink and chat. Finally, both of them left in satisfaction. Liang Biqin said excitedly, "Director Zheng, you're amazing. With such a high screening rate, our box office definitely won't be bad." When the trailer first came out, because of the actor's popularity, there were a lot of little pink fans who praised and expressed their anticipation. However, there were also quite a few who scolded them for being cliched and brainless. At first, she was a little worried. Hee, of course. Don't overestimate the taste of the audience these days. The people who come to the cinema to spend money are getting younger and younger. They only know what's good and what's bad, and they're just here to watch the show. They'll watch whatever you arrange for them." Xianxia said confidently. Liang Biqin nodded in agreement with director Zheng's words. Of course, what made her feel better was that Shen Mian was doomed this time. Chapter 12:12. That damned Shen Mian. Last time, in order to defend Ning Shi, she publicly reprimanded her on Weibo for being unprofessional and wanted to ban her. Now, she deliberately used Ning Shi as the female lead and made a movie of the same genre. She was clearly going against her. She wanted to see who would be the one who would be kicked out of the industry in the end. Thinking about Shen Mian and Ning Shi's fate, she felt extremely happy. This time, she killed 2 birds with 1 stone. "All right, Director Zheng, Producer Wu, do we need to make arrangements for Huaying?" the second female lead asked. They had already made arrangements for the top few cinemas, and only Huaying was left. Xianxia's expression did not look too good at the mention of Huaying. He snorted and said, "That bitch, Huaying, doesn't know what's good for her. We don't need to work with someone like her. It's enough that we've made some arrangements. If our movie becomes popular, she'll definitely give us more screenings." "Director Zheng, do you think there's something wrong with the manager of Huaying? Didn't they say that she's ranked first in Hua Nation?" The second female lead looked puzzled. The producer laughed disdainfully and said, "This Fang Jiyue is good at business, but she doesn't know how to conduct herself. She's also stupid. She never accepts red packets and doesn't even attend dinner parties. She thinks that she's virtuous, but in reality, she's broken the rules of the industry. Even the distributors don't want to deal with her. I see. That woman really doesn't know what's good for her." The next day, it was the official premiere of I Only Like You. Ning Shi had already watched the finished film in advance and had a general understanding of the quality of the movie. Therefore, She paid attention to the screening situation, the audience's comments online, and the ratings on the movie website. On the first day, Xianxia realized that the screening rate for this movie was shockingly high. It was comparable to the previous Hollywood blockbuster. The rating on the professional movie rating website, Xianxia, was not low either. It had a score of 76, which was considered very high among domestic movies. Not only that, but the audience's comments online were all praising the movie. Of course, there were some who scolded the movie for being melodramatic and brainless, but they were quickly drowned out by the praises of the movie's senior film critics. Needless to say, with such shoddy acting and quality, the producer's publicity team must have put in a lot of effort to achieve such results. Most of the investment for this film was not spent on the film itself, but on publicity and building relationships. On the third day, the box office results for I Only Like You were released. Won $1 billion. It had broken the 100 million mark. In the morning, in Xianxia's office, Xianxia, Shen Hanchun, Jian Shu, Ji Yameng, and the other main cast members were all there. On Xianxia's desk was a chart of the box office sales. I Only Like You was in the top 3. At this moment, everyone already knew that their Dream Seekers would be released at the same time as I Only Like You. Furthermore, I Only Like You had exploded at the box office on the first day, so the atmosphere in the room was inevitably a little heavy. Ji Yameng was furious. That Xianxia clearly did it on purpose. Director, you've already asked around and avoided clashing with their films, but they actually secretly rescheduled it and deliberately released it before us. Of course it was on purpose. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that it was done on purpose. But now, there was no other way. They could only meet force with force. The schedule had been confirmed, and it was going to be released soon. There was no way to change the schedule. Chapter 12-13. They were all newcomers. Although Xianxia had acted in Under the Heavens before, that was her only work. Fan loyalty was not high to begin with. Moreover, she had only released a new work after such a long time. The change in theme was so huge, so the impact on the box office was almost negligible. You guys can continue with the regular publicity as planned. I'll think of a solution to the theater's scheduling problem, Xianxia said calmly. Since he was prepared to take this path, he had naturally foreseen everything that was happening now. Everyone looked at each other, knowing that the situation was not optimistic. Xianxia's movie had a shockingly high scheduling rate and had almost taken over the entire market. It was harder than ascending to the heavens to cut a bloody path out of it. Although they did not say it out loud, everyone was inevitably a little discouraged. They all knew that the quality of their film was miles ahead of Xianxia's film. However, in the current film market, the quality of the film no longer seemed to be the key to the box office. No one knew this better than Xianxia, the director. Because of this, Xianxia admired Xianxia even more for cutting off all means of retreat this time. In the past, Xianxia's films had always been fought over by all the major cinema chains. Even if things had not been very optimistic in recent years, the scheduling rate had never been lower than 30%. However, this time, without the big names and powerful investors backing them up, the final scheduling rate was less than 10%. Several of the cinema chains even had a scheduling rate of 5%, and all of them were silent before 12 a.m. and after 22 p.m. This was the result that Xianxia had personally fought for from many sides. Finally, the day of the premiere of The Dream Seeker arrived. Xianxia checked the major cinemas in the Imperial City. Almost all of them were scheduled in the morning and at night. In the end, Xianxia bought tickets for the 22 p.m. movie. It was the weekend, so there were quite a lot of people out on dates and watching movies. However, because it was really late, there were only a few people left in the cinema. Among these people, most of them were there to watch I Only Like You. Under the circumstances that both films had the same theme, the audience would naturally choose the more popular one. At that moment, in front of the movie poster of I Only Like You, a man and a woman were discussing. "Baby, why don't you watch this? There are a lot of big names in it, and I heard it's quite funny," the man suggested. The girl mumbled unwillingly, "No, I don't like Liang Biqin. She's too pretentious. Also, she looks so scary in men's clothes. Did I? I think it's okay. Anyway, I don't want to watch stupid movies. If you want to see it yourself, then what are we looking at? There aren't any good movies at this time. Let me see. Oh, Dream Seeker. Leading roles, Ning Shi, Shun Hanchun. I've never heard of them. But holy shit, the male lead in this poster is way too handsome. He's totally my type. This gaze, this temperament. Just look at this. In the poster of Dream Seeker, there was a man and a woman, but in reality, the man was not the male lead, but Ning Shi. One was Ning Shi in men's clothes, and the other was Ning Shi in women's clothes. Those who didn't know would misunderstand that one was the male lead and the other was the female lead. The man seemed a little speechless. But this seems to be a retarded drama. Cut the crap. It's still a brainless drama. At least the handsome main actor is pleasing to the eyes. Chapter 12-14. In the end, the young couple bought the tickets for Dream Seeker. Ning Shi didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw this scene. Sigh. I didn't expect my brother to seduce an audience with his looks. Lu Tingxiao ruffled the girl's hair and said nothing. It will be popular. Ning Shi burst into laughter. Why are you more confident than me? Well, boss, are you going to open the back door for us? No need. Lu Tingxiao looked confident. Although capital can manipulate the market, it can never reverse the rules of the market. Excessive manipulation and violation of the rules of the market will inevitably lead to a backlash. Ning Shi blinked her eyes and nodded repeatedly. She didn't understand. She just didn't understand. Ning Shi took the man's arm and chuckled. I don't know about capital or the market. I only know that water can carry a boat or capsize it. No matter how good the manipulation is, it can't be compared to following the public's will. The audience's choice will ultimately determine the fate of the film. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl gently. That's what I mean. You are very smart. Haha, it's all because of boss's influence. After chatting with Lu Tingxiao, Ning Shi was in a better mood. She went to the front desk to buy popcorn and drinks, and then went into the screening hall happily, enjoying this rare date. Before entering the screening hall, Ning Shi looked at the screening hall next door, where I Only Like You was playing. It was about half full. For a night show, this was a very good attendance. Today was the third day of the screening of I Only Like You. The internet was full of discussions about this film, whether good or bad. In short, it was very popular. However, Ning Shi paid special attention to it. Unlike the day of the premiere, which was full of good reviews, the ratings and reputation of this film kept declining in the next 2 days. This was also one of the rules of this kind of shoddy commercial film. Under the powerful operation of the distributor, the box office on the first day would basically explode. However, once the audience saw it and had their own evaluation, the real reputation would immediately begin to show. This was absolutely impossible to fake. Do you want to fake the ratings? That would instead cause the audience to lower their scores and scold them even more. An hour ago, Ning Shi refreshed the ratings of this movie on Shuring website. In just 2 days, it had dropped from 76 points on the first day to 65 points. There were also a lot of comments on the internet about domestically produced movies like this. However, whether it was the producers or the theaters, they did not care about it at all. This was because everyone was used to the fact that the audience would continue to watch while complaining. All commercial films were of the same quality. If you did not watch this, there was nothing else to watch. In this day and age, it was fine to be scolded. The only scary thing was that there was no one to scold you. You can scold all you want, but the producers will still make money from you. Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao found seats in the last row, from which they could see how many people were in the cinema. When the movie started, Ning Shi counted. There were only 7 pitiful people in the entire theater. Other than her and Lu Tingxiao, there was the young couple from earlier, a pair of school-looking girls, and a woman in her 30s in a champagne-colored dress suit. She came alone and sat in a row in front of them. Chapter 12:15. Ning, she could understand the couple and the two students, but she couldn't help but be curious about the female audience member in the front row who was dressed like an elite. This kind of elite group didn't look like they would watch this kind of teen idol drama, right? However, no one said that elites couldn't watch teen idol dramas. In fact, modern society was so stressful that everyone liked to watch some relaxing and enjoyable dramas after work. The audience of their movie was actually very wide, not just limited to teenagers. Ning, she observed the other two pairs of audience members. The two young couples sat in the right corner. The man didn't seem to be interested in the movie and was completely there to accompany his girlfriend. He buried his head in his phone, and the girl was eating popcorn while looking at the big screen casually. It seemed like she didn't have any expectations. As for the two students sitting in the middle, these two people brought a lot of food and drinks, and they were already eating nonstop even before the movie started. She didn't know if they were here to watch a movie or to have a picnic. When the movie was about to start, two more people came in, a man and a woman. The man was tall and wore sunglasses and a mask. He walked straight to the last row, and Ning, she actually knew the woman next to him, Xianxia's agent, Xianxia. Previously, Xianxia wanted to poach her to Fengxing Media and gave her Xianxia's business card, but the devil threw it away. Needless to say, the man next to Xianxia was undoubtedly Xianxia. She didn't expect to see Xianxia coming to watch the premiere in person. Oh no, she couldn't let him find out that she was with Lu Tingxiao. Fortunately, Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao's seats were the most remote, and the two people didn't notice them at all. They randomly found two seats in the last row and sat down. Ning Shi whispered in Lu Tingxiao's ear, "Lu Tingxiao, the two people who just came in seem to be Xianxia and his agent, yeah." Lu Tingxiao nodded, indicating that he saw them too. Ning, she held her forehead. What the? There are 9 people in total, and almost half of them are our own people. She was really drunk. She didn't know what to say anymore. Finally, the advertisement on the big screen ended, and the movie began to play. The first scene of the movie was the scene where Ning, she gave Xianxia a show of strength when she first acted with him. Because this scene was the first act of the movie, it was very important. The two of them had to have an equal aura. At that time, they had been filming for a whole day, and Xianxia was almost killed by her. Later on, because of this, he had always been dissatisfied with her. It was only when he saw her cross-dressing that he realized she was a girl. Now that he thought back to the situation when he was filming, even though it was unpleasant, he still felt nostalgic. It was as if those things had happened just yesterday. In the blink of an eye, the movie had already been released. The young couple in front of them looked at the screen absent-mindedly. The two students were like squirrels eating nonstop. The female elite crossed her arms over her chest and did not move at all, accompanied by the sound of orchestral music. The scene of a banquet appeared on the big screen. At the end of the spiral staircase, 2 men, one in black and one in white, one in front and one behind, one dignified and the other leisurely, were slowly walking down. Halfway down, the man in front turned back and said something to the young man. The camera zoomed in, and the young man raised his eyebrows slightly. He glanced sideways at the man and curled his lips into a faint smile. At that moment, there was a bang. It was as if there was a dazzling firework that exploded in the minds of the audience who saw this scene. Chapter 12:16. What kind of feeling was that? It was a feeling that transcended gender, age, and everything else. The big screen was the biggest test for actors because even the slightest flaw would be magnified countless times. However, the young man in the movie seemed to be born for the big screen. Everything was perfect and flawless. Xianxia couldn't help but be stunned. Even though the other person in the movie was himself, even though he had done this scene countless times and knew every detail like the back of his hand, however, when he watched it again as a member of the audience, he was still completely attracted by the young man on the screen. He's really handsome. He's even more handsome than on the poster. I told you I didn't make the wrong choice. A girl exclaimed in front of him. Then, the girl muttered suspiciously, but the man in the black suit next to her is not bad either. Is he a supporting male character? Xianxia recovered from the amazement. I'm the male lead. The girl's boyfriend also seemed to be in high spirits. I'm a man, but I was captured in seconds just now. That gaze is simply amazing. The two female students in the middle were even more excited than the girl. Oh, so handsome, so handsome. I didn't expect there to be such a handsome newcomer in the entertainment circle. Oh, I feel like I smell a hint of gay love. Me too. Me too. Wow, so gay. They were actually two fujoshis. Although there weren't many people in the theater, everyone was quite representative. Then, the attention of the 5 audience members was obviously focused on the movie. As the movie progressed, when they found out that the woman in the white suit was actually the female lead dressed as a man, there was another wave of excited exclamations in the theater. Ah, that's the female lead. That's actually the female lead. Oh my God, there's actually a woman so handsome. Oh my God, she's not giving us men a way out. Where's my sketchbook? Where's my little notebook? It's over, it's over. Inspiration is gushing out. I feel like I can fight 100 doujinshi from this movie tonight. The girl excitedly took out a sketchbook and a pen from her bag. It seemed like she was an artist. In the next hour or so, there were only a few people in the theater. Except for the female elite in front of Ning Shi, the audience was relatively quiet. The young couple and the 2 female students didn't stop screaming from the beginning to the end. During this period, the 4 of them even apologized to them shyly. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves anymore. Especially the 2 female students. They would excitedly hug each other and exclaim once every 3 minutes. What was worth mentioning was that 2 audience members came in midway. They seemed to have come late, and their faces were full of regret. They even muttered that they had to come back tomorrow to watch it again. After the movie. That night, the female artist continued to crazily promote Dream Seeker that she watched tonight on her QQ Space, WeChat Moments, Weibo, Twitter, and other places. She even added her own doujinshi. I found a really good movie tonight. It's called Dream Seeker. You guys have to go watch it. I must go and see it. I must go and see it. Important things must be repeated 3 times. I believe you will come back and thank me after reading it. The female artist was a little famous in the circle. She often drew doujinshi from popular movies or novels. She had a large number of loyal fans. Chapter 1217. After seeing their favorite late-night Amway movie, the fans were all very curious. Wow, Darren is actually recommending a movie, and it's a domestic TV series. Didn't Darren say he would never watch domestic TV series again? Fuck. I want to search for the trailer for Dream Seeker. The female commander is going crazy. The plot is also very interesting. I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. I'll go too. I don't have anything I want to watch recently. Darren's recommendation will definitely not go wrong. The female painter's boyfriend status updates were all about lovey-dovey. Tonight, he posted something related to a movie. I watched a movie today. It's called Dream Seeker. The female lead in the movie is super awesome. She can switch between a goddess and a male god with just some makeup. Actually, when a girl is handsome, men really don't have anything to do with her, especially those who just finished watching I Only Like You. I suggest you watch this Dream Seeker. You'll know that without comparison, there's no harm. There were 2 pictures attached to this status update. They were 2 pictures taken directly from the movie. One was the female lead in female clothing, and the other was the female lead in male clothing. As for the 2 female students, they lived near the theater. They had already made plans to come over another day to watch it. Of course, they were also recommending it in their various groups. The same thing happened to many of the audiences who happened to see the movie today. Although the number of people who watched the movie on the first day was very low, almost everyone who watched the movie began to spread it by word of mouth after they came back. Like a spark, it quietly spread to every corner. After the movie, the woman in the champagne-colored dress left the theater expressionlessly. The woman walked briskly as she immediately made a phone call. Hello, Deputy Manager Zhang. General Manager Fong. It's so late. What can I do for you? A man's respectful voice came from the other end of the phone. What's the current screening rate for Dream Seeker? The woman went straight to the point. Dream Seeker? The person on the other end of the phone probably didn't have any impression of it and couldn't remember which movie it was. Shen Mion's new movie, the woman reminded. Director? Shun's new movie? The person on the other end of the phone finally remembered. Please wait a moment. I'll check. I found it. The screening rate is about 5%. The woman frowned. So low. The person on the other end of the phone hurriedly said, Mr. Fong, you might not know this, but although Shen Mian is directing this film, it's a low-budget production with only a few million yuan in investment. The cast is all new faces, and the only female lead who has worked before is also playing a female lead for the first time. There's no cast, there's no topic, and there's no big company. There's no way the box office can hold up. The 5% is only for Shen Mian's sake. Have you seen this film? The woman asked. The person on the other end of the phone was stunned for a moment. No, but I've definitely considered all the factors. As professionals, they would have a basic prediction before the screening of a movie and then estimate the number of screenings. However, nowadays, everyone only paid attention to the movie, and almost no one actually watched the content of the movie. This was already the norm in the industry, and there was nothing strange about it. After hearing this, the woman did not say anything. She said directly, tomorrow, increase the screening rate of this film to 60%. Chapter 12:18. What? How much? An incredulous voice came from the other end of the line. Manager Fong, did you make a mistake? Or are you talking about Director Zhongkanda's I Only Like You? Did you accidentally mix up the two films? The woman's voice was calm. I'm not mistaken. It's Shen Mian's Dream Seeker. But that's impossible. Currently, 50% of the screenings for I Only Like You are already available. How could 60% be given to Dream Seeker? Do you need me to teach you how to reduce the screenings for I Only Like You? I want to see the new schedule tomorrow morning. The woman said resolutely and then hung up the phone. On the way home, Ning, she was sitting in the front passenger seat. She propped her head up with her hand and looked at Lu Tingxiao. Although the audience is small, the reaction is quite good. The entire movie had a breaking point almost every few minutes. If it's a high attendance, the effect will be great. But the female audience member in front of us is so calm. She doesn't have any reaction. Does she not like this type of film? Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl in the rearview mirror and said, whether she likes it or not, you'll find out tomorrow when you pay attention to the screenings for Dream Seeker. Ning, she was startled. Huaying screenings? What do you mean? Lu Tingxiao said, that woman is the general manager of Huaying, Fongjia. Ning, she was dumbfounded. Damn, she's the general manager of Huaying Cinema? Why didn't you tell me just now? Lu Tingxiao said, I didn't see her face. Okay. Knowing that the mysterious female audience member was Fong Jiayue, Ning, she was a little nervous. I don't know if she likes it or not. It'll be terrible if she doesn't. The screenings for this film are pitifully low to begin with. Oh, I'm so nervous. Boss, do you think she'll like it? Lu Tingxiao said yes. Why are you so sure? Although Ning, she was happy to hear that. She was still curious as to why Lu Tingxiao was so sure. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl and said meaningfully, if the general manager of Huaying is a man, there's a 70% chance he'll like this film. If it's a woman, there's a 100% chance. Ning, she was speechless. Thank you so much for thinking so highly of my flirting skills. The next day? Today was the 4th day of I Only Like You screening and the 2nd day of Dream Seeker screening. On the internet, I Only Like You had become a hot topic. During this time, as long as people talked about movies, they would talk about this domestic urban drama with the highest investment this year. As for the box office, it had always been very strong. At present, it had broken 300 million yuan, and the screening rate of the major cinemas had always been high. Naturally, everyone was willing to give more screenings to movies that were profitable. The only one that had a strange screening schedule that was out of place with the other cinema chains was Huaying Cinema Chain. At this time, in the conference room of the Shadow Company's building, the company's top management was in the middle of a meeting. In the meeting, everyone's expressions were not very good. Fang Jieyue's order last night had caused a huge uproar in the company today. Chapter 1219. Inside the conference room of Shadow Cinema. The leading shareholder questioned fiercely on the spot. General Manager Fang, all the cinema chains know that Zhengkongda's films are the most profitable. I don't know what kind of consideration you have for you to make such a ridiculous decision. You've severely reduced the ranking of Zhengkongda's films in all the cinema chains and forcibly increased the ranking of Dream Seekers, which has no popularity at all, to such an outrageous figure of 60%. I hope you can give us a reasonable explanation for this. Otherwise, we won't be convinced. The other shareholders and senior executives nodded in agreement as they listened to him. Even if you believe in Shun Mian's ability and think highly of this film, a ranking of 10% is already very good, but 60%, you're simply messing around. Even the Hollywood blockbuster A Life and Death Struggle only had a screening rate of 60%. What right does this sloppy comedy have to have such a screening rate? General Manager Fang, we acknowledge your professionalism, and we also acknowledge that you've successfully predicted many dark horses and unpopular films in the past. But this time, you've really been too hasty. Today's data is enough to prove that this decision was a huge mistake. Dream Seekers' occupancy rate is currently less than 10%. Just today alone, Shadow Cinema has already suffered heavy losses. This is simply sending consumers directly to other cinemas. We request that the screening rate be adjusted immediately to prevent further losses. Because Fang Jieyue did not accept red packets or attend any dinner parties, there were many shareholders and executives who had opinions about her, not only in the industry, but also in the company. They felt that she was limiting the company's development. Opening a cinema was to make money. What was the use of just having a good reputation? Even if she successfully excavated 10 high-quality, unpopular films, the profits would not be comparable to the profits of a commercial blockbuster. This caused Shadow Cinema's performance to hover around the middle of the industry, never able to rush to the top. Deputy General Manager Zhang Yong looked at Fang Jieyue, who was being attacked by the shareholders. He was gloating in his heart, but on the surface, he looked like he was in a difficult position. When I received President Fang's call last night, I was also very surprised and tried to persuade him, but President Fang's attitude was very firm. I could only choose to believe in President Fang's judgment. In the end, I didn't expect today's data. President Fang, what is your attitude on this matter? You should at least give us an explanation. Seeing that Fang Jieyue did not speak, the people below began to impatiently urge her. On the main seat, Fang Jieyue's gaze swept across everyone calmly. Then, she said, I have received everyone's questions and doubts. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, Fang Jieyue continued, However, I do not intend to change my decision. What? You still don't want to change after suffering such a loss? What is this woman trying to do? Do you even care about the rights and interests of the shareholders? Does she think the company belongs to her alone? In the face of everyone's condemnation, Fang Jieyue continued, In 10 days, if it is proven that I made the wrong decision, I will resign as the general manager. As soon as Fang Jieyue finished speaking, the crowd burst into an uproar, especially Vice President Zhang Yong. His eyes were filled with joy when he heard this. If Fang Jieyue stepped down, then it was very likely that it would be his turn. Chapter 1220. He had had enough of being suppressed by this woman. Not only did she not accept bribes, but she also demanded that her subordinates comply. He could only watch helplessly as his peers reaped the benefits. Unfortunately, Fang Jieyue had a good reputation in the industry. Although her company was not among the top, it was always in the top 10. He could not do anything to her. He did not expect Fang Jiayue to do something so brainless this time. What a joke. 10 days? That unpopular film would at most be the stuff of a 3-day tour. 3 days later, it might not even have a 1% occupancy rate. By that time, all the screening halls would be empty. That scene, TSK, 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 was really something to look forward to. However, he still had to thank this film. It made Fang Jiayue fall for it for some reason, and it also gave him the opportunity to rise up. After Fang Jiayue said this, she turned around and left the conference room, not caring what the shareholders thought of her. If this had been a few years ago, she would have given them a long explanation and analysis of the film and told them why she was so optimistic about it. But now, she would not waste her breath, because these people did not understand movies. No matter how much she said, it would be like playing the lute to a cow. Yes, most of the people in the television industry knew nothing about movies. It was this group of people who controlled the film market and toyed with the taste of the audience, so that Chinese movies could not be compared to foreign movies. As a result, foreign blockbusters were always the ones making money in China. At the same time, Xianxia was talking to the producer, Wuxia. "Old Wu, how is it? Because our box office performance was very good in the past 3 days, the screening rate at all the major cinemas is still very high. Our film has the highest screening rate of all the films in the same period." But what? Xianxia frowned. "But there is one cinema chain that is an exception." "Oh, which one?" Xianxia asked with interest. Wuxia answered, "Huaying Cinema Line. When I was compiling the data, I found that Huaying Cinema reduced our screening rate to 5% and increased Dream Seekers to 60%. "What? How much did you say?" Xianxia looked surprised. 60%. Xianxia's face darkened. This Fang Jiayue, is she crazy? Could it be that she's taking revenge on me because I'm the only one who didn't pay attention to her? How interesting. Wuxia shook his head and said, "Based on Fang Jiayue's personality, I don't think she would do such a thing. This might seem inconceivable to others, but it's quite normal for her. She often did this kind of thing. She would suddenly give a very high screening rate to unpopular movies, but this time, it was especially high. Those films that she's interested in have quite a high probability of being an upset. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gotten the title of China's #1. I'm afraid her reputation will be ruined this time." Xianxia sneered. Wuxia also had a look of ridicule on his face. "That's for sure. I've checked Huaying's figures today. They've given us such a high screening rate, but the attendance rate for Dream Seeker is terrible. Not many people are going to watch it. To be honest, I really don't understand either. Even if this kind of unpopular film is popular because of its good reputation, it's still relatively unpopular. No matter how popular it is, it can't even compare to a tenth of a commercial film. She's simply wasting her resources by giving these films slots." Chapter 12:21. Xianxia looked pleased. She made such a big fuss this time. "I don't believe that Huaying's shareholders won't have any objections. I don't think she'll be able to stay on as the general manager for long." Just as Xianxia and Wuxia confidently predicted that Fang Jiayue would definitely fail this time. On the internet, a huge energy with great potential was quietly fermenting and spreading. Time passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it was the 3rd day of the screening of Dream Seekers. Huaying's occupancy rate was still not high, but did not fall below 1%, as Zhang Yong had expected. In fact, it even increased quite a bit. At night, after a busy day, people returned home from work and casually scrolled through Weibo. Suddenly, they discovered that, on the Weibo trending list, there was a film that no one was familiar with. Its name was Dream Seekers. The Weibo headline was posted by a girl who was painting hands. This Weibo post was excitedly promoting a movie called Dream Seekers and accompanied it with a doujinshi manga that she had drawn. The content of the manga was a classic hilarious scene from a movie. The girl's Weibo followers were less than 30,000. In fact, it was not a lot, but because the clip in the manga was so loving, the number of reposts snowballed, especially because a few famous people in the circle also reposted it, saying that they had seen the movie. While promoting it, they all began to draw Xianxia. Just in the top 10 trending lists on Weibo, there were 3 famous artists whose Dream Seekers Xianxia were trending. Just like that, Dream Seekers began to spread in the artist circle and then spread unstoppably to other circles. By 10 o'clock in the evening, the trailer posted on the official Weibo of Dream Seekers had been pushed to the top trending list by enthusiastic netizens. Below it, there were voices saying that they would go to the cinema tomorrow to watch the movie. Ow, ow. Oh my god. Why did I only find out about this movie now? Just the trailer alone is enough to make my wolf blood boil. I'm already bent like a mosquito coil. If anyone touches me, I'll go to heaven. What does it feel like to be turned gay by a handsome man? Go watch Dream Seekers and you'll know. Hee hee. Those who have already watched it in the cinema 3 times say that the female lead is too fucking amazing. She's already bent like a boomerang. Wallcrack recommends you guys to watch it. It's unbelievable that this film was so cold before. Is there even a need to ask? This film is all directed by newcomers, and the promotion is low-key, so naturally, there isn't much attention. It's not like a certain drama that's currently airing, where people buy trending searches and even spend their own money to buy box office tickets. They've squeezed out all the really good movies. A few days ago, I praised Liang Bichin's retarded drama to the skies. Please go and watch Dream Seeker. You will hear the sounds of pa pa pa. That's the sound of a slap on your face. Just like that, Dream Seekers suddenly appeared out of nowhere with unstoppable momentum, exploding in every corner of social media. Initially, netizens who had no idea about this drama felt that it was pretty good after watching the trailer, while others felt that it was just a melodramatic comedy and that the comments were too exaggerated. But no matter what, because of the high ratings on the internet, the public's curiosity had been aroused. Most people said that they must go to the cinema tomorrow to see what was going on. Chapter 1222. In the past, when the internet was not yet widespread, the public could only get information through newspapers, television, and radio stations. However, such media were easily controlled by organizations or even individuals. Now, it was the era of the internet. The number of netizens in China was as high as 800 million, and all kinds of new media were springing up like mushrooms after a rain. The power of the internet was beyond imagination and extremely difficult to control. After just one night of fermenting on the internet, the next day, a rather large number of audiences walked into the cinema for a low-budget, unhyped film like Dream Seekers that had almost no attention before. Once word of mouth spread, it would be much more effective than spending tens of millions on marketing and publicity. Late at night, at a cinema in the center of the imperial city, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. In the past, at this time, after the primetime movie had ended, the entire cinema would be almost empty. However, today was unusual. It was already this time, not a holiday, and there were no events, but the number of people in the cinema did not decrease. Instead, it increased. In the cinema, a group of young men and women gathered in groups of 3 or 4, discussing something enthusiastically. Usually, there's not even a shadow of a person at this time. Why are there so many people tonight? I thought it would be just the 2 of us, a girl said to her companion. Her companion was also a young girl. She looked at the people around her and said, "Many of them must be here for dream seekers like us, right? I heard a lot of people talking about it just now. The trailer is really good. I hope the actual movie won't be disappointed. It's just that there are too few showtimes for this film. Other than the one in the early morning, there's only this one in the middle of the night. We have to come here at night. Yeah, it'll be 12 o'clock after watching it. We still have to work tomorrow. We came all the way here for this film. If it's not good, it'll be a big loss." Not far away, a middle-aged man in a suit walked to the cashier with his hands behind his back. "Manager Zhou." "Good evening, Manager Zhou." Because there were many customers, the 2 cashiers were busy dealing with them. When they saw the middle-aged man, they hurriedly made time to greet him. The manager, whose surname was Zhou, waved his hand, indicating that she did not need to worry about him, and continue with her work. It was not until 2200 hours that the two cashiers were finally done with their work. At this time, the manager walked up to ask, looking very satisfied. Tonight's customer flow is not bad. Is the cinema having an event recently? The two cashiers shook their heads when they heard that. One of them then said, Manager, there's no activity recently. What's going on? Xianxia asked. I took a look. More than 90% of the customers who came tonight are here to see The Dream Seeker. Another cashier replied. Xianxia frowned when he heard that. Dream Seeker? Is it the one that's been discussed on the internet recently? Yes, there weren't many people watching the movie for the first 2 days. It seems like it became popular overnight. The cashier explained. Manager, it's not just the evening show. The attendance rate for the earliest show today is also very high. Usually, a hall can only seat a few people, but today, half of the seats are occupied. Another cashier said excitedly. Xianxia had naturally seen some of the content related to this film on the internet. When he heard this, he revealed a thoughtful expression. Chapter 1223. After chatting with the two employees for a while, Xianxia personally went to the theater for Dream Seekers to take a look. At a glance, he saw that the attendance rate for the evening screening was even higher than the morning screening. The theater, which could accommodate about 100 people, was almost 70% to 80% full. With his many years of experience, he vaguely judged that this film had the potential to be a big hit. It was a pity that it clashed with Xianxia's film after leaving the theater. Xianxia pondered for a long time, but in the end, he still made a call. He called the manager of another theater to get some information. Hello, Director Zhang. Director Zhou, you're calling me so late. Don't tell me it's also about Dream Seekers? A teasing voice came from the other end of the phone. Also, it seems like someone has already looked for you. Xianxia raised his eyebrows. Isn't that so? I just spoke to Director Zhao and Director Liang. Then what do you guys say? Are we going to change the screening schedule or not? Xianxia asked the most important question. Director Zhou, the quality of Xianxia's film is indeed not bad. If it was invested by a big company like in the past, we would definitely promote it. But the situation with this film, in this day and age, things like popularity on the internet are very fragile. The enthusiasm of netizens comes and goes quickly. How long can something that becomes popular overnight last? What's more, we have an agreement with Xianxia. If it was any other film that became popular, it wouldn't hurt us to increase the screening schedule. But Xianxia, she's Xianxia's archenemy. All right, Director Zhang, I understand. Xianxia listened and hung up. It was not worth it to offend Xianxia and his backer for an unknown future of Dream Seekers. Actually, it was easy to decide whether or not to change the screening schedule of Dream Seekers. They could just follow the direction of Cinema of 10,000. If the industry leaders did not make a move, they naturally would not make a move either. At the moment, it seemed that Cinema of 10,000 was completely on Xianxia's side and would definitely not make a move the next day. Dream Seekers was even more popular on the internet than the day before. The rating on Shurring website was as high as 86, and the positive rating was almost 100%. Everyone who had seen the film gave a high praise. The comments on all the film review websites and social media sites were being refreshed at a rapid pace. Because of the recommendation from many people on the internet, I risked not being able to get up from work the next day to watch Dream Seekers with my best friend in the middle of the night. In the end, it's really, really good. Not to mention 10 p.m., even if it was in the wee hours of the morning, it would not be a loss. I've already made plans with my best friend to watch the second time tomorrow. Dearest, from today onwards, I have a new Prince Charming. Chapter 1224. I was mesmerized by the scene where he kissed the female lead on the balcony. I'm going to the cinema again for Lin Yu's sake. Oh, I'm also on the female lead in Lin Yu's side. Lin Yu's aura is super strong. He dotes on the female lead very much. Every time the female lead is in trouble, he's always by her side and helps her cover up her identity. What a pity! Why didn't the female lead choose Lin Yu in the end? It's not just the male lead and female lead, but also the male supporting characters. The female lead's close friend Ning Xiaoming and the male lead's funny best friend Zhang Xiaohai are all very likable. Ning Xiaoming's interaction with the female lead is also very cute. Zhang Xiaohai is the joke of the whole movie. I didn't have much hope when I first went to watch it, but I didn't expect it to be so good. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie with a good script and all the actors' acting skills. This is the conscience of the industry. I recommend everyone to watch it with 5 stars. You won't be disappointed. The performances of the actors in this movie are all very good, but it's obvious that the core inspiration of the whole movie is the female lead. I only found out later that the female lead is Meng Chang'e from The World. I've been paying attention to her since she was filming The World. She's definitely not a pretty face like the rumors say. She's definitely good at acting. There's another very important thing. Didn't you all notice that the director of this movie is Shun Mian? Shun Mian made Stars, Sun, Moon, and Love in the future. These years, Shun Mian's movies have been getting worse and worse, and I've been disappointed many times. But this time, I'm really very excited. Shun Mian has finally returned. I really want to watch it from what you guys are saying, but it's so annoying. Why is the screening of our Dream Seekers not early in the morning or late at night? Workaholics can't watch it normally. We can only wait for the rest day. Actually, you can go and complain to the staff of the cinema or call to complain and ask them to arrange more screenings. If there are many people requesting it, the cinema will usually increase the number of screenings. While the discussion about Dream Seekers was in full swing on the internet, in a private room of a high-class hotel in the imperial capital, Zhang Kangde and Wu Kai called a few of the lead actors to accompany them and invited the managers of the major cinema chains. Their purpose was obvious, to ensure that they would not be affected by the comments online. After 3 rounds of drinks, under Zhang Kangde's various sugar-coated bombs and hints, a few cinema managers, led by Cui Zhihao, the manager of House of 10,000 Cinemas, expressed that Zhang Kangde's film would definitely not be affected and the screening rate of Dream Seeker would definitely not change. After all, after spending so much money, they had to abide by the rules of the industry. Director Zhang, don't worry. I've seen this kind of method many times. The comments online are all interspersed with real and fake ones. Most of them are fake. In less than 3 days, this virtual fire will die down. That's right. Shun Mian is obviously struggling on her deathbed. However, 3 days later, over the past 3 days, the number of people watching Dream Seeker did not decrease at all. Instead, it became more and more popular. With less than 10% of the screenings in the major cinemas, the daily box office sales kept getting higher and higher. Finally, on this Saturday, the box office sales actually broke 100 million. What did it mean to have such a high box office sales with such a low screening rate? It meant that the attendance rate of Dream Seeker was shockingly high. All the cinemas, regardless of whether it was early in the morning or late at night, were all full. You're tuning into the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.